Okay, hello everyone, and you are back with us at the Trent Valley Kart Club Championships Round 1 with the SlipStream. Of course, you are now members only part, so congratulations and thank you very much for joining the team. You're with myself, Kiel Lynch, and Jake Peach in the commentary box, and it is time for the finals.
I thought we were going to do that thing where I say your name and you say my name, you know, like an Ant and Dec kind of thing.
Should we try again?
Yes, I'm with Kiel Lynch.
And Jake Peach.
There we go, we did it. Maybe that will stick as we go throughout the rest of this weekend for the Club Championship. Yeah, we are hoping you are joining us on our members-only stream right now on the SlipStream service, brought to you and powered by Alpha Live, which means you can watch the finals of the first round of the Club Championship here at PFI International straight away. You don't have to wait 7 days.
Exactly.
Look at that weather, though. For the next 15, 20 minutes to an hour, it's to a few hours, it's all to play for.
It is. That means we could have some spots of rain then for the B finals. The finals are looking like they possibly are going to be dry, maybe the first few bits of spots of rain. You can see there with the parts of the track that haven't quite dried yet. However, it is mostly dry lines and blue skies for now.
Blue sky that side.
Hopefully, yeah, blue sky on that side. However, if we pan to the latter part of the circuit, it isn't quite the same.
Yeah, and we are, well, hopefully wanting incredibly exciting racing actions we did in our heats this morning. I think the weather certainly had a part to play in all of those parts. But equally, there were some great battles right throughout. We had the move around the outside from Chester Forks in his category, the E-plate. We had Alfie Brown, I believe, as well. Oh, Aaron Brown in the in the X30 senior. So no, it was Alfie Brown. There's lots of Browns and Aarons and Alfies and all this. But here we go then. You can see our junior Rotax drivers coming out for our B final. We were just saying off air before, weren't we, Kiel? We have got a split of drivers because there's so many runners. This is almost like another chance for the top 4 to get into the main final after this. But sometimes it's going to also be for pride in this race as well.
Well, exactly that. We'll get a fact check that it is the top 4, but I believe it is. Yes, it will be your top 4. But on pole for the B final then, you have Devin Taylor, joined by Elliot Smith, Kevin Ivanov, George Fountain, Aaron Berridge and Jaden Payne are your top 6, Jay Singh and Layla Bell. Then you have Benjamin Lawn and Obi Hall as your top 10. Yeah,
Benjamin Lawn wanted me making up some places and getting into that top 4 because he had an unfortunate time of it before. Logan Howes, Ollie Healy, Stanley Stafford, Joe Neal, Archie Thoman Evans and Riley Murthwaite to P16. Jacob Gaunt, Jamie Richards, Liam Dooling, Lily Cantignon, Harvey Everett, Thomas Harper, Luca Matukia and Callum Boot, and then also Callum Gardner and Louis Brown.
Now, of course, we are seeing some drivers that shouldn't necessarily be in the B final today because of the sheer amount of weather changes we had. So there will be some drivers who will be, devastated to be in the B final, but we'll be hoping to make it out. Okay, and here we go. We are underway with our Junior Rotax B final of the day. Here we go then. Under the bridge they go, and it looks like it was a good start for what was your pole sitter. And around they come over the bridge, and that is that a Jack's Motorsport kart that now leads?
It definitely seemed like that. Might have very similar liveries. Don't think there's many Jack's Motorsports in this race particularly, but yes, similar kind of look. But out in the lead is Devin Taylor in the MLC kart. Oh! And who's that off to the side? Who's got an issue there? I'm trying to make out who's off to, that is a 265. And that's Kevin Ivanov. Honestly, such bad luck because in the wet running we had earlier, literally just had bad luck and got the oversteer off of one of the wet patches of the track. And it looks like there's a problem with his kart there. So that is really unfortunate for Kevin.
Exactly that. Visibly frustrated, as you would be, obviously. Didn't want to be in the B final as is, and now, unfortunately, has got himself out of today's racing, and that is finished for him. Devin Taylor, your pole sitter, had a good start, strong start, gaining his gap to nearly 2 seconds already. However, that could all change if Aaron Berrid and Jay Singh start working together. Logan Howes was another driver who we didn't expect to see necessarily in this B final, but here you go. Here is your race leader heading towards hairpin 1. You can see, look at the track now. Conditions getting a lot better. Ooh, here we go. Sideways motion. And that is a Cole's kart trying to go down the inside. He takes a look, but he doesn't quite get the move done. That was kart 125.
But did Benjamin Law make a move there on Jay Singh? It looked like he was trying to make it sick. No, Jay Singh out in front of those really. We're picking up this battle here between Benjamin Lawn down in P7 and Joe Neal looking to want to make some progress. Nice move up the inside there into the Mike Wilson complex, and that was your... Yeah, that was Benjamin Law making a move then on Joe Neal, we think, up on the inside. As then we come across for this lap, and hopefully we'll have those places confirmed. Yeah, Benjamin Lawn hops above Logan Howes. Look at that move there into the chicane, up the inside from Joe Neal. Looks like he is going ahead of Logan Howes then, as we make our way up into this bowl section, and there's going to be no messing about in this B final.
All right, then off in the distance you see your leader, but this is George Fountain. We are seeing the battle for second place. George Fountain, fastest driver on circuit right now in the initial stages of this lap, right behind Aaron Berridge, looking to make his way into that second position. Obviously, the top 4 drivers secure their place into the final. So these top 4 drivers are going to be working their hardest, and so far there is a big battle behind Jay Singh there for that 4th position in the final.
It's all going on, isn't it? And Jay Singh will be defending these positions like a lion.
Exactly.
And won't want to let them through. It's all pretty close, though, in this group. The front 3 looks like they've broken out in front, and look at that gap along the start-finish line.
See, it's always a funny one for the B final, because you see, obviously your fastest man on track is George Fountain, sitting there in 3rd place, right behind Aaron Berridge. But you wonder, so these 2 are guaranteed a spot so far. Are they going to play it safe, or is George Fountain going to try and make his way past Aaron Berridge? Because look at this is already bringing more drivers into contention. Or do they want to risk that? Obviously they do. And here they go then, into hairpin 1 they go. That's
Benjamin Lawn and I believe Jay Singh there. So Benjamin Lawn getting right up there. Joe Neal also found his way up to P4, I think, through the bowl section, and now Joe Neal has secured that final spot.
Exactly. Now, he is the #1 driver to be hunted down. He is the easiest spot, the first spot, then into the final. So Joe Neal wants to get away with this spot now before he runs out of time. However, he's got a gap to those drivers in front, so it looks like it's going to be a battle for him. Here we go then. There is your race leader, Devon Taylor, currently guaranteed that spot. And Aaron Berridge, George Fountain, and Joe Neal now sets the fastest lap. There you go. He listened. He said he is going to try his best to get away from those drivers then behind him who are hunting him down for that spot in the final. That is Benjamin Lawn, Jay Singh, and Elliott Smith now fighting for that position.
And look at the gap that Devon Taylor has.
Ooh,
Devon Taylor will be finding it final. Here we go, though, into the hairpin. And a switcheroo back up the inside, a retain of lead, push on to the outside curb, just a tad there. And that was the battle between, I think, Jamie, that was second and third. Yeah, it was second and third. Aaron Berridge and George Fountain. They don't want to be fighting too much. As you say, they're guaranteed spots. So there's no need to be getting skirmishes or like that. Instead, they, you know, unless they want that kind of pride to take through into the B final, and they're not going to chase down after Devon Taylor like that, though. All's fair in love and war out on this PFI international circuit right now.
Well, exactly that. Here we go then. Through the final sector they go. You see the Lando Norris inspired helmet right there. Okay, round the start-finish straight they go once again, and towards, this is the battle a bit further down the pack, the drivers that need to make their way up. That was Elliott Smith you saw, and Jamie Riches just ahead of him going through the bank now. They need to work hard now if they want to make that spot into the final. There is one spot that is close. However, here is your leader then. And there we go, we have just had it confirmed. It is absolutely the top 4. So there you go. Right now, at this stage in the race, you have 2 minutes plus a lap to go. And your drivers that are going through so far are Devon Taylor, Aaron Berridge, George Fountain, and Joe Neal. But your man in 5th, Benjamin Lawn, he is saying, nope, I'm ready, I'm trying. There is quite the gap there. You see him in the black and yellow machine just coming out of that corner now. But he's got some time to make up if he wants to promote himself into the final.
This is going to be the battle to follow for the next couple of laps, because Benjamin Law must have been kicking himself that he was unfortunate in those early heats.
Move.
But still, a move up the inside at the front there for George Fountain on Aaron Berridge. And you'd think, oh, a banging at wheels there again, coming together, trying to all find their way through the bowl section. Who is that at the back that's lost out? Have they got damage to the car? That's Joe Neal. Is he able to keep it going? I'm not too sure. It looks like he's got control of it. Is there damage to the chassis? We'll wait and see in his next couple of laps. He's not happy about where he sits now in P5 though.
Well, exactly that. Now he's the first position to miss out. Joe Neal just lost out on that position. That is devastating for him. Wondering what happened there. You
Looks
see,
like he might have a problem. I'm not sure.
Exactly that. There you see another car of Jamie Richards going out in front of him. Has he got an issue? I wonder. There's obviously something going on for him to drop back so drastically. He will be devastated as he now gets himself out of the final. But now then, your drivers who are in the finals, that is Aaron Berridge and Benjamin Lawn, who set the fastest lap just then. Is he going to work his way back up in that Tooling Motorsport car? We will have to see. Okay, over the start-finish straight they go once again then. Devon Taylor, he is running a smooth race here. He's got 40 seconds plus a lap to go. A second gap, that's running pretty smooth for him. But we have a switch then for the second position. That is Benjamin Lawn, your fastest car on track. Switching takes back that second position. Right there, he says, nope, I don't want to be third into the final. I want to secure a position better than that as he leads now into hairpin 1 ahead of, I think that's George Fountain then.
This is Joe Neal a bit further back in P5, trying to keep honest with Jamie Richards behind, so in 5th and 6th. This is Joe Neal once again. We're on board for the battle for 5th and 6th and 7th and so forth, and could come into play if we have a bit of a battle up front. They don't look like they're in the game now at the moment, but it could all change to go through the top 4 into this final. Coming across for the final lap then, Kiel.
Well, here we go. We'll have to know there. Your leader, Devon Taylor. Wow. What happened to your leader then? The gap shrank. Did he get too comfortable? It is now only a half a second, which isn't a lot now, because obviously you can lose a tenth a couple of corners, which
and sorry,
isn't great for him.
just on our screen, George Fountain has a 5-second time penalty. We're not too sure what that's relating to, but that's a 5-second time penalty for George Fountain, and that is going to affect the final runnings of 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Is Joe Neal close enough to capitalise?
Exactly. Tell you what, that possibly is a good thing now for Joe Neal. Is he going to make his way in? He possibly is after losing those positions. But there you go. There is the kart number 114.
Devon Taylor now behind George Fountain. So it looks like George Fountain got ahead, maybe, the stewards think, illegally. And across the line on the road is going to be George Fountain, Devon Taylor, Benjamin Lawn. But we've seen that 5-second penalty for George Fountain, which is to come. And it obviously is going to change the order there slightly. And we've had our top 4 finishing within about a second. That's a second to a fight. He might drop down, George Fountain, to P4, but we've all got to wait and see how that comes out. He might just be okay, George Fountain, with that 5 seconds, but it's going to be very, very close indeed.
And of course, Joe Neal did drop back, managed to get himself back into that position to make it into the final. But the question is Aaron Berridge, is he going to make it into the final? Has George Fountain done enough? Has Aaron Berridge got enough time in between them to be promoted, or has George Fountain secured that time for himself?
I mean, you know, all of these permutations coming together, left, right and centre, and seeing how it's all unfolding here, we will see how that all plays out. I do believe, though, looking at the gap, if you add this up, so we've got 7.5, we've got a cool 9.3 a second, so and then 3 seconds to Joe Neal, that's nearly it's going to be oh so close. I can't quick math that quickly here in the commentary box, but it's going to be a matter of tenths of a second, I think, whether we're going to see George Fountain progress through to the final, the A final, later to join his other compatriots in this next junior Rotax. But now let's go on to our B final for senior Rotax.
All right, here we go then. We had Junior and we watched George Fountain, Devon Taylor, Benjamin Lawn and Joe Neal make their way up into the main event for this evening. However, is Joe Fountain going to keep it? We will have to see. Is Aaron Berridge going to make it up? We will have to get a fact check on that and know further on. But we are now, it's time for Senior Rotax B final to see which 4 Senior Rotax are going to make their way into the main event.
Yeah, and as we saw there from the B final in the junior Rotax, do people want to sit back and kind of just take the position and guarantee their places, or do they want to get into the mix, or do they have to be careful with the racecraft that they have out there on the track, because you could get the stewards penalising you and it could change everything when you felt it was completely comfortable.
Well, exactly. That is what we usually think would happen. You'd think they'd be comfortable if they were running in that kind of second and third position. However, that isn't usually what we see, even though that is what we expect. Here we go then. You see a few karts just being rolled off the track ahead of this next B final. And then, Jake, we are straight into the main events of the day.
I mean, it has flown by all so quickly, but we hope you've enjoyed coverage here on the Alpha Live YouTube channel with this coverage of the Club Championship of the Trent Valley Kart Club Championship for the very first time being live streamed, beamed around the world. We're worldwide, baby. Hello, San Diego, as Anchorman might say. Particularly to all of our viewers. If you are listening over in or watching in San Diego, or if you're watching here in the UK or in Europe and you're keeping tabs on some of the drivers that might be in some of the Euro Series, who's doing well in the British Kart Championship, it's all good research, but it's also friends and family saying hello.
Well, do you know what, Jake? Last weekend we had someone watching on their honeymoon.
What?
A SlipStream event. Seriously, watching a honeymoon.
Their honeymoon?
Seriously, and they were watching in the members only, they were watching the finals on their honeymoon. That's got to be a first.
That is commitment.
Seriously.
Have we sent them anything like that for their level of
I mean, I know
love?
We should have.
Yeah,
we should have.
I think they need to arrange something possibly,
I know.
but we'll see what happens with that. But it's now turning out to be, at this precise moment, it has been a glorious day at times here at PFI. But we have the changing weather conditions, and will we have any of that? I think it's going to be fully dry. I think we can confidently say, looking at pictures there. Let's go to your grids and see how we're lining up for this B final of Senior Rotax and see who's going to make it through to the final of the A final later. Take us through the grid.
All right then, that was a bit of a mouthful.
It was a mouthful, yeah.
Here we go then. Your front row for the Senior Rotax B final: Freddie Moore and Jake Fisher, joined by the row 2 of Charlie Domikos and Corey Fowler. Oscar Striveskik and William Akiev are next. ZZ Lim and Austin Johnson round out your top 8. Then inside your top 10 then are Harvey Quick and Leela Scratchard.
And then down to P11 is Owen Rathbone, Isaac Ward, Noah Gravill, Benjamin Gordon, Kieran Glanville, Liam Morelli down to P16. And P17 is Rocco Valentino. Rounding off your grid.
Here we go then. Not as many drivers that we had in the Junior Rotax B final, so opens more opportunity to bunch the grid up, see who can make their way.
No, very important indeed. But also, a lot of our drivers in the front of the pack here know what's at stake. There are places up for grabs for the A final and where they want to be in contention for the trophy. We're going racing in the tram lines. Are we away? Yes, we are. Down towards the first turn through the chicane under the bridge. And it looks like a great start from, I believe that was, it looked like a Dan Holland Racing livery, maybe a JDR livery. We'll see what happens as they come out the Litchfield Bridge, and we'll see who is out in front, and do believe that's been a retain of the lead for Jake Fisher. No, it's Jake Fisher who's got up. Jake Fisher
off the circuit into the barrier. Unfortunately, that will be the end to someone's race. Let's figure out who.
Yeah, we'll see who that is in a second. Jake Fisher has leapfrogged from P2 to P1 in the first lap, and we'll try and get a grip on who sadly span out there down towards that hairpin and won't be seeing any chance of further racing today here at PFI. But here you go. Look, we've got a right old battle already developing here in P1 and P2. As we come across the line then, for the very first time, you will see that Jake Fisher is out front, but not for very long. Oscar Shirvik takes the lead into the bowl section and up to Litchfield Bridge, and Jake Fisher's now got to stare at the back of the go-kart again.
I mean, Oscar started on the third row of the grid, down in 5th. What a mega first lap for him then. He is absolutely gunning for his position in the final. He does not want to be one of those positions that gets fought for in the latter stages of the race. There you go then, he leads into hairpin 2. That is now Corey Fowler in 2nd, and Oscar, oh no, that isn't correct. I apologies for that. The live timing isn't right just yet.
Jake Fisher is behind. I think we've been having some transponder issues with a couple of our karts trying to pick up where they are on the track. So I think it's all going to field out from what you're seeing on the left of your screen. But you can see in the moment, out in front is Corey Fowler ahead of Jake Fisher in 78 karts, as you see coming across the line here. That will be confirmed. Jake Fisher and Corey Fowler has gone right down the pack. Corey Fowler's transponder, though, not working. So we will try and keep you across as much as we can. Trust what we're saying as to the lead at the moment. Out in front, you have got Corey Fowler in P position, 2nd and 3rd and 1st, all going for it.
Well, there we go then. We have a switch for first position right at the last second, and a switch for 2nd. That is the 322 car of Austin Johnson, now up in 2nd. Hunting down that Jack Deck's car. I think that is in 1st still. Yes, your leader, who was Jake Fisher, I believe, is back in the lead now.
Yeah, Jake Fisher is back in front and is using all of the Team Evolution experience to good use to be out in front of Austin Johnson at the moment, and it is fast-paced action. We're across the line again, an adjustment on the radiator from our race leader to try and let some air into that Rotax machine to see if we get any more performance. A nice little cheeky look around the outside there. There's a nice move looking up on the inside as well as we go into the bowl section across Litchfield Bridge. You saw in the back of your shot there Jake Fisher chasing down at the front of the pack here. It looks like we have got Austin Johnson out in front now. When did all that happen?
Right, here we go then. It looks like our live timing has decided to join us again. That is Johnston leading Fisher, Fowler and Schweck. Apologies for the wrong pronunciation of that surname there. Anyway, that is the car number 96, who currently, those 4 have a spot in the final. However, that 4th position, it's looking like it could get hunted down pretty quick. He's in a bit of clean air. He's by himself so far, however, not for long, because those karts behind him, Quick and Rathbone, will be working hard as ever to catch up.
Yeah, and we've got Austin Johnson now then in control for one of the very first times in this race, and getting a feel for what it's like to be in the race lead in this B final. Dive up the inside though for P2, and that was Oscar Striedvek going up on the inside of Jake Fisher or Corey Fowler, trying to keep up with the timings. And out front, that P2 now, that is Corey Fowler ahead of Jake Fisher. So Corey Fowler is in P2, Jake Fisher is P3, Austin Johnson P1. So those 3 going all right at the moment. These 3 are breaking away from Oscar in P4, and there's a nice gap, you would say, for our top 4 drivers between them and Harvey Quick in P5. So let's see how this all unfolds.
Well, absolutely. Harvey Quick and Owen Rathbone have about, well, they've got just over 3 minutes plus a lap to fight for that position. That who currently holds that 4th position? I'm not sure, because our live timing is just not working.
I think it is Corey Fowler now, and you can see Corey Fowler, although Corey Fowler has dropped down the order in terms of the timings. We're seeing that all unfold as we go throughout. Yeah, Corey Fowler still up in P2 and maintaining that position. So it is Austin Johnson leading Corey Fowler, and behind Jake Fisher. Corey Fowler going for the race lead and takes the lead out of the first hairpin. Now 2nd and 3rd having a bit of argy-bargy into the 2nd hairpin. Austin Johnson in 2nd place. P3 now down to Jake Fisher. So it's all going on, and this is quite early on in proceedings in this B final to secure these places, but they've got enough of a gap to have a good time.
Well, exactly that. Like you said, beautiful move from that 29 kart, Corey Fowler. Ooh, that is someone who is no longer with us anymore, and unfortunately their chance of making it to the final is over.
That is Isaac Ward, unfortunately, for the R1 racing team. Unfortunate to get out on the grass there.
But here we go, through to the Bruno Ferrari S's. They go once again. Pretty sped out now, the top 4, and they have a considerable gap. So you would think what we're going to see now is these 4 bring it home. They've got just under 2 minutes to play it safe. But are we going to see a change for the race lead? It is looking pretty possible as they head into hairpin 1. But no, they are 1 by 1 into hairpin 1. However, Corey Fowler is ever so, though, that is Austin Johnson in P2, who is latching onto the back of your race leader. Is he going to make a move into the S's? No, not just yet. There you go then, as your leaders approach the final sector.
Oh, they are nose to tail around this PFI circuit. Corey Fowler, he might have problems with his transponder, but he knows exactly where he is out on the circuit right now, ahead of Austin Johnson. Can he keep ahead with 1 minute 10 on the clock plus 1 lap? Here we go then. It is everything on the table. We are all in to see how this unfolds. Corey Fowler leads Austin Johnson, Jake Fisher, who is out the inside though. Austin Johnson goes for the move on the inside, up the bowl section and across the Litchfield Bridge, makes it stick, and will come out onto the right-hand side of your picture there, use all the curb and the track. Who's going for P2 here now as well? Jake Fisher fancies a look up the inside.
Exactly,
it's
that
all
beautiful move down the inside from Jake Fisher in the Evolution car. Was at the race lead at one point, but then dropped back. But he is saying, nope, I want that second best position to make it to the final. Now hunting down your race leader, Corey Fowler. That is Jake Fisher in the 78 car, now promoted up into second. There you go then, car number 29, Corey Fowler, now running in third. However, all these positions still promote them through to the final.
Yeah, and Corey Fowler will be thinking, how on earth did that happen? I was out in the lead, it was all hunky-dory, and now I've got to chase on after what was rightfully mine at the front of the pack. You can see confirmation there. Austin Johnson, Jake Fisher, and Corey Fowler is in P3. So we come through this section for the penultimate time and trying to navigate this very tricky bridge. There's a lot of camber on that Litchfield Bridge. People just think it's flat and very easy to just go over and take the apex. It's a lot to deal with there underneath your senior Rotax machine, and these hairpins, try and negotiate as best you can. Looks like a nice line, all under control from Austin Johnson, who's got that sort of 4 tenths or so to play with at the moment. Back to Jake Fisher, who can't be resting on his laurels because Corey Fowler is all over the back for P2, even though they're looking pretty comfortable to go through.
Well, exactly that. Except your man in third position, Corey Fowler, he is your fastest man on track right now, and we are coming up to what is almost the final lap of the race. Yes, here we go. Your race leader, Austin Johnson, heads through to the Bruno Ferrari S's once again for the final time, led by, he is leading Jake Fisher, and that is caught number 29 in third position, I believe.
It's Corey,
there we go
yeah.
then, heading down towards hairpin 1 for the final time. Is there going to be a change in these top 3? See, these 3 don't need to change, but is there going to be? We know.
But why not?
Higo has it all. Exactly. They have quite a good gap, including your man in fourth, that car number 96, who has also promoted himself into the final. All have a good gap, so they could play for it in this last bit of the race.
Yeah, top 4 drivers progress. So this battle with Oscar Svierzvik is pretty much secure because he's got a 5-second gap for P4. So it's all basically just for the show. Out front in P3, is anyone going to chance it? They're probably not, because they're very happy to be going through and progressing into the next part of our final, and it's going to be a very comfortable 1, 2 and 3 for Austin Johnson, Jake Fisher, Corey Fowler and Oscar Svierzvik in P4, and that's our drivers that are progressing then into the next race and next part of the weekend. Great performance from them there, and some great battling all round. Corey was happy to have the lead and then gave it up and was like, oh, I'll settle for this, it's fine.
Exactly that. Well done to those 4 drivers. Unfortunately, drivers who didn't have the same run, Benjamin Gordon did not start, so he lost his opportunity to the final before he even started. Charlie DeMoncos we lost then just towards the end of the race, as we did Kieran Glanville. Unfortunately, those 3 lost their opportunity early, but there's always next time. This is only round 1.
Well,
this is the start of the year.
This is true. There are 7 rounds of the TVKC Club Championship, and of course they want to be starting off in the right way, in the best way possible. However, you know, the way the action goes sometimes, yeah, if you are in this B final, you might be just sort of writing it off and going, all right, look, we'll come back stronger. We might be performing in other championships that myself and you, Keel, are sort of overseeing throughout 2026. And yes, we can see a very dedicated mechanic there to get one of the carts back and back into the awnings and hopefully out in the van for an early, getting out of it, early exit to try and get home and get some well-needed rest. Right, let's go to our next B final now, which concerns... oh no, sorry, we're going to the final of Minimax 950. I need to get rid of that paper there. We're going to Minimax 950, which will happen now. I was excited getting lots of papers in front of us, isn't
Absolutely.
there? Looking at this position, that position, but we're on to Minimax.
But here we go then, Jake. Like we said, first final of the day then for Minimax.
And Minimax earlier had a lot of rain to contend with, didn't they?
Yes.
And like the tricky conditions towards the end of all of those, hopefully they'll enjoy themselves a little bit more out here now on a much drier circuit and, well, clinching our first trophy and accolades of this round of the TVKC. So there's lots to play for out there, and now you'll be seeing an extra 4 minutes on the clock as we're into the proper finals, or the A finals, whatever way you want to call it. We'll have 12 minutes plus 1 lap, so we'll have some slightly longer racing, which means more time for strategy, maybe to size up where to make a move, how long to leave it towards the end of the lap, and then we will see how it all unfolds. All right, let's get a look at our grids then for this Minimax 950 final.
Okay, your pole sitter, Oscar Kenny, on the front row of the grid next to James Roots. On row 2 then you have Luke Millward and Evan Miller, followed by Jay Birmingham and Drew Davidson. Your top 8 then is Elliot Burke and Dimitar Uzanov. Rounding out your top 10 will be Flynn Grantham and Riley Blakemore.
Followed by Freddie Blackshaw, Adam Bart, Buddy Hugo, Darren Dimitrov, Thomas Laidler, Finley Beals is P16. Charlie Heffer, Akil Shione, who was the champ in previous times, Felix Sheldon Hayward, Alfie Phillipson, Eli Owen, Jess Kirby, Finley Rose and Reggie Chalmer, also a champion in these neck of the woods, Otto Amy, Alex Tossing Sikis and Ayrton Galsworthy, Jack Hill, James Carver, Dexter Petty, Dagor Sigurdsson and George Whiteman is P32.
And then at the back end of the grid you've got Archie Gaunt, Arthur Jardine, Elsie Gannon and Hugo Torpin. Of course, these drivers were the first to experience the ropey conditions earlier. Youngest drivers, like some of the youngest drivers, obviously you've got micro and water strift restricted. However, then some of them are freshly moved up into this Minimax class. Obviously, it was hard for them with these mixed conditions, so they and their teams will be absolutely thrilled to see they are getting warned there after their few false starts they've had. But we are going to be underway then for the first heat, for their final of the day.
And the first final day underway, and I thought it was 12 minutes. It's 10 minutes. I'm getting confused between different kind of events. But yes, all our finals are going to be 10 minutes plus 1 lap. And that is the same for here, a Minimax 950. And a look over the shoulder from a guy in P1 at the moment. And Oscar Kenny, I don't think is in P1. I do believe it's James Roots out in the lead. Who is that at the front? I think it's Luke Millward, okay, in the X kart, has taken the lead here for our Minimax 950 final and didn't have a great time of it in some earlier heats, was kind of there or thereabouts, but has now got a lot of competition going on still with James Roots of Dan Holland Racing, who wants to take that right back.
Exactly, switch there for the lead. The Dan Holland Racing car of James Roots takes the lead straight back. 9 minutes to go, but he says, nope, I want the lead early on in this race. Mook Wilberg, the X car, not a bad start for him, and that was someone who unfortunately didn't have a good start and won't be joining us anymore. But here we go then, as your Minimax go across the line for the first time up into the Bruno Ferrari S's, they will go. And so far we have Roots, Millward, Kenny and Evan Miller then down into 4th position already. Hopefully he can make his way back up. Jay Birmingham, Dimitar Uzanov, who's one to watch out for during this final. Here we go then. Your front 3 are bumper to bumper, front 4 as they head through the first hairpin, but no change in positions just yet. and hairpin 2. There you go. That is Evan Miller, who promotes himself up into 4th already.
We do have some yellow flags in Sector 1, so just something to be mindful of. We do have a stricken car of Ayrton Galsworthy, who unfortunately is out of this race. Hasn't had much luck towards the start of the season. There were some retirements from other championships. We'll be looking to bounce back in the next few races, and unfortunate to not see him up at the top part of this running order. But as we come across the line then, with 8 minutes on the clock, it is James Roots, followed by Luke Millward, Oscar Kenny, Ivan Meller and Dimitar Uznov, Jay Birmingham, Adam Bartz, Riley Blakemore, Drew Davidson and Alfie Phillipson. Are there any moves up into the bowl section across the bridge that might change that order as we get down towards the first hairpin?
Good question, Jake. Are we going to have any moves just yet? It is looking... Oh,
we are.
Yes, we are.
Nice
are we going to
defensive
have
drive.
a move from Oscar Kenny in that 3rd position? Oh, that now brings Evan Miller into contention as he goes side by side with Oscar Kenny now. Can he get around the outside? But not quite, as he slots himself back in. But this makes Luke Millward go slightly side by side with that 48 car. Not quite, though. They all slot back into the position that they left off in. That is, oh, battery level low, but we will ignore that. Here we go then. Here is further down the grid, going through the S's.
And yeah, coming round the Mike Wilson complex are our leaders, and coming across the start-finish line. Here you can see there's a change for the lead. Luke Millward is out in front then, leading this Minimax 950 final and wanting to take the crown in this first round of the club championship here at Trent Valley Kart Club. And going up through the bridge then, let's see how much composure Luke Millward has got coming down towards his first hairpin, and so long to go, lots of moves. Going defensive straight away because he senses a move there from Oscar Kenny up the inside, who's now up into P2 ahead of James Roots. It's all changing here.
Well, there you go. Your ex-car driver managing to do a great job there. Has to go defensive again now into the S's towards Sector 3, but manages to make it stick. James Roots and Oscar Kenny there applying the pressure to get into those spots, but Evan Miller now down into 6th. Unfortunately, lost a few positions there to Adam Bat and Dimitar Uznov, who managed to make their way up in that kind of front leading pack. But that is the battle with car number 84, a bit further down the grid now, coming out through the final sector.
Yeah, and that was a battle on your screen you were just seeing there, right down between sort of the mid-pack. But as we're coming now, rejoining up by the Litchfield Bridge section where our leaders are making their way out, and in the lead is now Oscar Kenny, who has taken that Luke Millward and also has got James Roots for company. Side by side, oh, that's not what you want to see. Unfortunate coming together there, trying to pick their braking zones, and we'll see how all that pans out. But it looks like Oscar Kenny got away from that one. Luke Millward, James Roots, Adam Bart might be trying to find where they're at the moment.
Well, exactly that. This opens up plenty more opportunity now, as those drivers are going to drop drastically to the back of the grid. Now, Adam Bat has ended up promoted himself up into 2nd. Dimitar Uznov, another driver, up into 3rd. Drew Davidson 4th, and Evan Miller now. That was quite good for him as he managed to gain those positions back. That car number 17 now running in 5th.
Yeah, and Adam Bart up 8 places in this race, so a great sequence of events for him, no matter how much is luck or ability in what has happened around these last few laps here at PFI. Oscar Kenny, as far as we can see at the moment, still leads the way as we make our way over Litchfield Bridge, and here we are then picking up the leader. And it looks like it's second. This is second. Battle for second. Drew Davidson there, leading in front of Dimitar Uznov. Is that going to stay the same as Adam Bart, now down into P4? Dropped a couple of places from what you were just mentioning, Keo. It's all happening in the midfield as well.
Well, exactly that. Oscar Kenny, your race leader, actually did benefit from that ever so slightly. He now has a 1.5 second gap. Is this enough for him to maintain for the rest of the race? Possibly, as long as he keeps his head down. We do have yellow flags as your race leader comes over the... Oh, we have slow boards
We've
out.
got a full course yellow and slow boards out, which neutralises the race, which means... Oh, no overtaking, but I don't think they saw that. That is not what we want to see under slow flag conditions. That is the 31 of Adam Bart, who I think just misjudged what was happening there. And so easy when you're in the zone and you're racing and you're like focused on what's ahead in a final like this, it's so easy to just not be able to snap out of that focus. But this basically neutralises the race now, and we've got Oscar Cammie then leading the way ahead of Drew Davison, and Dimitar Uzanov up to third. Ivan Mellor is in fourth, kind of regained a little bit there.
Well, saying this now, this effectively, like when you're in cars, it's like a safety car. This does, like you say, neutralises the race. It gives those drivers who did drop back a bit a position now, almost a fresh start. They're all bunched up back together. The gap that your race leader did have, Oscar Cammie, is no longer. This now gives Davison, Uzanov, Mellor, Blakemore, all those top 5 drivers a chance to put their nose in right away when they get back underway with this race, as we still have just under 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, they don't stop the clock with the slow ball. That's the important thing to say.
Yeah.
The time runs down, so this is playing into the hands of people like Oscar Cammie, but maybe also the top 3 as well. Drew Davidson's thinking, well, I'm going to stick it up the inside when we go racing again because I might only have a minute and a half to go.
That is why we tend to see the race leader at times slowing it right down. Obviously, the less time they take, the slower it goes, the more time that is going down on that clock, the more time he leads the race. He did have that gap, so he'll obviously be feeling the pressure now as he looks behind him. There he goes, backing it up, slowing the pack down by a considerable amount now. Obviously, trying to limit how many drivers are going to be going in on him for the restart of the race.
Yeah, Oscar Cammie then winding down the clock. I mean, is not allowed to essentially stop out on track, but is controlling the pace of the field. He is effectively the leader, leading round everyone here. You've got to be careful that there's not too many bumps because you go into scrutineering, and be careful of those nose cones because we don't want a 5-second penalty because of all of that. There's about a minute and a half. It's really ticking down here. So it looks like we're going to have time maybe for 3 laps. If Oscar Cammie gets on with it here, it might be 2. Looking like it's going to be 3 laps at the moment with the time we have left. And they can't overtake before the line that they first come across at the tram lines. They can't be making a move for until then. You'll see them coming across up here, and here they go off the start-finish line, and we are back racing again. We've got a minute and 1 lap to go, and Oscar Cammie will be hoping there's enough warmth in his tyres, enough grip to hold out in the lead, which there is. We're staying as we were.
Here we go then, your leader over towards the bridge. It has been a successful start for your leader, Oscar Cammie. Obviously, he slowed the pack down. That worked successfully for him as he got a good restart. Drew Davidson, and we have some very defensive lines then further towards the back as they are entering hairpin 1. How is that going to play out for them? But they all kind of slot back into their positions there.
Oh, right on the grass there, right on the outside. That was getting very racy indeed between some of our runners there, and in the mid-pack, I think that was 7th and 8th as we're on board here with Elliot Bork in P6 alongside Felix Sheldon Hayward. It's all going on. Lots of moves into this Mike Wilson complex. Getting out very wide there. Catching the back of the cart was Felix Sheldon Hayward. Great kart control to keep his kart going in the right direction and to be in the mixture of this. Once you get out wide, you can be swamped by about 5 karts on the back of you. But here we go with the penultimate lap then. Oscar Cammie ahead of Evan Mellor.
And look at this, Evan Mellor managed to get himself up into that 2nd spot right away. Now, this is the penultimate lap, like you said, of the race. Evan Mellor has 2 laps to make his way. Can he put pressure on the race leader, Oscar Cammie? Can he? Let's figure it out. Obviously, successful restart, but it looks like we are possibly going to have a change in the 3rd position battle with Dimitar Uzanov and Drew Davidson. Not just yet, though. You see Drew Davidson in that bright yellow and blue car right behind Uzanov, waiting to pounce. Obviously, penultimate lap. Is he going to wait now till the last lap? Because obviously, these drivers are closing in behind as your leaders now go through Sector 3.
It looks like Evan Mellor was kind of a bit preoccupied, looking over his shoulder thinking, oh my god, Dimitar is here for company. Doesn't want to lose sight of Oscar Cammie out in front. This is it then, just under 1,400 metres to go of this first Minimax final of the year. And is it going to stay as you were as we come across the line, or is it all going to look a bit different by when we get to the end? Defensive line there at the inside from Evan Mellor. And is it staying all the same? Oh, it's looking so close. Come over Litchfield Bridge. How's this all going to play out? Who is that in front of them? That looks like it's Dimitar Uzanov in 2nd place.
Now defensive lines from Uzanov as they head into hairpin 1. Evan Mellor trying to regain that place, but no, that is going to be Drew Davidson in that bright yellow car. Wheel banging. Now all 3 ways into hairpin 2. Who's it going to be that comes out with the best run? It is going to be that
James
32 car of James Roots.
From 5th.
Here we go then, right by Evan Mellor, but he is just going to miss out. There you go. That sets a pretty good standard for your leader then, who is now 1.7 seconds ahead in this final lap of the race.
Dimitar Uzunov really trying to hold on to second place here. And from James Roots, but Oscar Kenny with nearly 1.7 second gap is going to take victory. He does the salute across the start finish line. He takes the win here at Minimax 950 final, and he should be incredibly proud of himself getting up into that first spot and controlling the pace and letting everyone else battle behind in second, third and fourth. James Roots in the end finished P2, Dimitar Uzunov in P3, Ivan Meller, Elliot Bork with the fastest lap of the race in P5, Thomas Laidler, Drew Davison, Adam Barr, unfortunately he was up there towards P2 and P3, Luke Millward also unfortunate in 9th and then 10th as well.
I mean, all that action at the front, and we kind of missed that 57 car of Thomas Laidler was up 9 positions. That was a good battle for him. He was latching on to Elliot Burke towards the latter stage of that race, but couldn't quite make his way into that top 5. Oscar Kenny, like you say, was deserving of that win. He controlled the restart very well, got off the line, and managed to pull the gap that he had before the restart, in fairness to him.
Great restart.
So, obviously, very deserving. James Roots managed to come away with that P2 in the end. It could have been any of those three. It could have been Roots, Uzunov, or Miller, to be fair. And they all managed to finish. There was some wheel banging at the end, but it wasn't too bad. But let's move swiftly on to our second final of the day. All right then, we have got our dual grid up next for the final, and it is Micromax joined by the Waterstrift Restricted, who are joining at the back.
Yeah, Micromax has been fiercely fought. I say that about all the categories, but our younger drivers have been showing why they deserve to be in these categories, racing in this championship for sure. And if you remember in the wet race we had last time in this class, in the last heats, we had Ollie West from Waterstrift Restricted going up to P2, which is basically like a Formula 2 kind of car, speed running with Formula 1 cars. It's just the way the conditions played out, and I mean, I don't think we're going to see the same thing happening again, but I mean, stranger things have happened.
Exactly that, stranger things have happened. However, I think I can see slight spots of rain. Can I see slight spots of rain?
Don't say that.
I actually think I can. However, we're not going to play into that just yet.
You're cursing it again, aren't you?
No, we're not.
You want it to rain.
No, I'm not going to say anything just yet,
No,
Jake.
okay,
We are going to leave that at that.
We can see that. I think the weather, on that, I think it looks like it's going to hold off for this race, and just looking at the clouds coming over this circuit, to the left of us, to the right of us, it looks like there's just sort of dodging things at the moment. You could get the odd spot of rain, but not looking too bad out there at the moment.
But if we look at our grid, you've obviously got Hendrix Falat and Zach Andrew. Privateers working together, I think unspoken team possibly so far for these drivers. They are similar sticker kits, so I'm not sure.
And they were doing that a lot, weren't they, in the other heats? And
exactly.
It worked quite well to a certain point.
It did, to be fair. That is some of the best teamwork we've seen today. Obviously, we've seen some not so great teamwork, which hasn't benefited the team. So they pushed each other right till that very last second, and it did work out for both of them until the rain came down, and that changed everything.
It certainly did.
Exactly, but they are still starting at the sharp end of the grid together, so it'll be interesting to see if those two end up working together again and trying to repeat what they did in that Heat 2 before the drastic conditions changed.
Well, yes, and it all changed for sure, and Jensen Darlow will definitely wanting to be up there for sure and follow on from an impressive performance. Hendrix Falat, who has gone down a couple of positions in some of the races, will also wanting to be holding on to this pole position, because in the race starts hasn't been able to keep up with, let's be fair to him, the chaos of a class like this going into the first chicane. However, to be fair, also the conditions were very, very difficult.
They were severe out there at some point today, and I was right. Dare I say it? I was right.
You've jinxed the rain's
right.
here
Look,
again.
There we go. We see some spectators.
Spots.
A mini spectator out there with his hat and his hood up. Number one fan, obviously. Will we see him on the grid at some point? Who knows?
Having a lovely time, I think.
Absolutely.
And enjoying all of the views that this Paul Fletcher International Circuit has to offer. You've got literally a whole kind of... We're kind of in like a massive oval bowl, aren't we, at PFI? And there's sort of banking right round the sides of the circuit here to view it from all different vantage points. So you can view the 2 hairpins pretty well over on the far side, but you can also get the bowl, which is one of the most exciting overtaking spots up there. Let's get onto the grids then for this mixed dual final for our Rotax runners and our Water Swift runners as well. Hendrix Falat starts on pole with Jensen Darlow and Will Wainwright down to P3 and William Hatton on row 2. Tommy Lovejoy, Zach Andrew, Felix Tandy would be wanting to go up a little bit more from P7, I think, to Jack Gould in P8. Heath Smith Jr. Wright takes you down to the top 10.
Right, just outside the top 10 then, Theo Jepson, Harry Riley, the 8-year-old, one of the youngest out on track we have today, Hugh Riley, Kyra Vieira, Lanny Edune, Sebastian Talbot, round out your top 16. Right then, at the back of that grid is Teddy Hunter, but your pole sitter, phenomenal drive in the wet from Ollie West, P2 overall, of course. I'm interested to see what he is going to do today, of course, the 4th seeded kart, joined by Charlie Kitchen on the front row, Caden Okora then, and George Askew. And that rounds out your grid for the Water Swift Restricted, who are obviously on the back of your Micromax today.
Yeah. And less runners in the Water Swift, just to make that clear, because it's the final. They deserve this place. So if there is a battle between those 4 drivers, it's going to be a fantastic race. It's going to be like going down to some Arrive and Drive and have a bit of fun and seeing who's going to come out on top, particularly. All right, well, look, we are into this dual final here. You're keeping your eye on the Rotax runners, our cadets of our Rotax runners and our Water Swift runners. Hendrix Falat with Jensen Darlow behind. Is Jensen Darlow going to chuck it up the inside and throw it into the bowl to try and clinch P1 this early on in the race? Remember, 10 minutes plus 1 lap. It's a longer race to think about strategy and where you're going to place your moves and at the right time. And coming through these final couple of corners here, they look ready to go.
They do. And are we going to get the brilliant start that we did have from Jensen Darlow in the Jax Motorsport car? He did have a really good start in that heat too. He got straight around from the outside there of Hendrix Falat. Unfortunately then, because they worked together with his unspoken teammate. But anyway, here we go then. And we are underway for our Micromax and Water Swift Restricted Heat 2. And Jensen Darlow does it again, but he gets pushed sideways then just outside turn 1. That will be a grassroots then for him and a few others, but it looks like they're all going to rejoin at the back of the track. Unfortunately, that will be now a recovery drive for them, but as we head and see, let's see the angle that takes us towards the hairpin, and that is a fist from someone who is now out in first position. That is kart number 22.
That's William Hatton, who's benefited from all of the chaos going into the bowl section there.
And he knows it. He gets his fist out as he goes through hairpin 2. He's got his fist out ready to pull this gap for himself he's going to be hoping for.
Well, I mean, it already looks a pretty substantial gap. I would say that's at least a second. We confirm it as we come across our timing lines and the start-finish straight for the very first time. Unfortunate to see spins in a final like this, but it is all part of the racing and racing incidents and getting caught up with each other. It's unfortunate, but it's going to happen, particularly such a challenging circuit into turn 1, all hurling towards each other. Not a lot of space to play with, but unfortunately, that is the way it's played out for that driver there. But all looking like it's spacing out a bit more now. You can see William Hatton confirming ahead of Hendrix Falat, who hasn't been able to hold on to that pole position again, unfortunately. Will Wainwright and Jack Gould to Harry Riley down to P5.
Oh, and I'm just looking at the drivers there who didn't come round. That is an unfortunate start then for one of the unspoken teammates, Zach Andrew, who will unfortunately not be able to help his teammate Hendrix Falat, who is currently running second. Does he need the help? No, but unfortunate start and end to his day for Zach Andrew. Is going to be a recovery drive there, along with Jensen Darlow and Harley Hibbert. Unfortunately, they were the drivers who had the bit of a sketchy start, as did others on the grass at their track. But here we go. We've got, this is the battle for the mid-pack. Harry Riley running in 5th. That's good. Harry Riley is one of the youngest we have on track, just 8 years old. 5th position, not too bad for him. And that is the that is the 21 car in front of him, Will Wainwright. We saw Will Wainwright come up the grid well.
I mean, you can't miss him.
Heat. Exactly, the
fluorescent
bright
yellow
kart. We've got a lot of bright yellow karts on this grid, funnily enough, in Micromax. Not doing too bad, but let's take a look, Jake, to our Water Swift Restricted. How are they doing?
Yeah, the Water Swift Restricted guys are getting on fairly well. As we can see, I think out in front in the Water Swift Restricted is Cole Parrish at the moment, leading the way there, who started in, well, I believe, in
Nope.
fifth position. No? Oh, we've got
It's
Ollie
not.
West up there because we didn't see the top of the grid. All the timings are changing with these short grids. It's Ollie West out in front then, who is looking like is going to be keeping control of that mid-pack.
Well, of course, Ollie West, we thought, is he going to be able to control this in the dry now? Obviously, all the drivers on slicks. He is in a generally slower kart in the restricted kart. But no, he is ready to challenge those micros. There he is in the number 4 seeded kart. But he is running in 7th position, fighting with all of those micros right now. Is he going to be able to do more of them for the end of this race? He's got just under 7 minutes to go. I think he can.
Well, we'll see how it all plays out. Yeah, 7 minutes in karting feels like an eternity. An exciting one, but it feels very good. You can see there's hand signals from William Hatton there, trying to signal to Hendrix Fallout because he can sense him right on his bumper to say, please, can we work together? This isn't going to go well if you want to take me out. No, thank you.
Absolutely. Over the bridge they go then, and he's like, please work with me.
Oh.
But he says no. Hendrix Fallout
Hendrix wants to go in front.
takes the race lead. Brilliant move there. Smooth move down. And now he leads into hairpin 1. Is there going to be another change, or is William Hatton going to say, no, you can take me? Nope, there is no lead. Is William Hatton going to try and get switched back? It looks like he might, but he's going to be on the outside now for hairpin 2. So the likelihood is they will slot back in. Yes, exactly. Slight sideways moment, but all good. This does bring Jack Gold now. You can see just in that 24 kart right behind. This does bring him into contention a bit more. Yep, as do to be... Oh, that is someone who runs very wide. That was possibly Harry Riley, was it?
I believe so, yeah. It was Harry Riley getting out onto the, well, wet stuff and out onto the curbing that you don't want to be out there for. We were saying about Hendrix Fallat that couldn't keep the pole position. Well, he's shutting us up right now because he's out there in the lead with a 7th, 10th gap or so ahead of William Hatton and Jack Gould. And you just briefly, they talk about Ollie West in the other car. I mean, up in P6 at the moment, in the mix with a lot of Rotax drivers, and actually briefly setting the fastest lap of the race there before Zach Andrew came along and said, no, the Rotax is where I want to be setting my fastest lap as well. Here we got a move then into this hairpin from
Felix Tandy, that is.
Felix Tandy, so making a nice recovery drive then up through the pack.
There you go. Now he will lead into hairpin 2. He leads that pack of sort of 3rd position now. Felix Tandy has made his way up through the grid. He started a little further down after a difficult few heats. He is now up into 4th. Not too bad because the leaders are just a small reach away. And of course, as these races are 10 minutes plus a lap, we have still 4.5 minutes to go of this race. It's all to play for so far still. Ollie West, 5th position. I mean, come on, he's going to be one to watch out for. What can Ollie West do in the remainder of this race?
It seems like track time is a very valuable thing for Hendrix Fallat. We've been referencing that Hendrix Fallat has had a lot of track time and practice, particularly last month here at PFI. Looks like it's all sort of starting to roll into one now. He's in building a gap all the time over William Hatton, who's got Felix Tandy for company in P3, a nearly 2nd gap between 1st and 2nd. And as you sort of almost glowingly pointed out to me just then, Keel, in the commentary box, Ollie West has gone at fastest lap, but we're seeing some nice action and overtakes there from Jack Gould, trying to force the issue on Felix Tandy. And ahead of Felix Tandy at the moment, you have got William Hatton, who is staying firmly in that 2nd spot right now and doesn't want to be getting dragged away from Hendrix Fallat too much.
All right then, round sector 3 they go. Hendrix Fallat, 9/10 of a gap. Ooh, some wheel banging there at the further. Oh no, that is your 2nd place wheel banging. With that is Felix Tandy. How is that going to go for them? Yep, that is now bringing these 3 drivers behind into contention more. That's Danny Curl Academy kart going down the inside at turn 1. Is he going to make the move stick? Yes, he does. That is Jack Gold, the number 4th. The 4th seeded kart. As they go round the bank, he gets the move done on Ollie West, I believe, who has set the fastest lap of this race so far in that restricted kart, may we remind you. There is Hendrix Fallat then heading down into hairpin 1. Is there going to be a move now as your 3? Yes, there is. There's going to be a 2 kart move, but they can't quite make it stick, so it's going to be Felix Tandy. Then that leads this kind of pack for battling for the rest of the podium positions. Felix Tandy leads then into also hairpin 2. No change for those positions just yet.
It's not unheard of, but can Felix Tandy do the unthinkable if Hendrix Fallat is going to stay consistent out there at the front? Can he stay ahead of Felix Tandy. Felix Tandy, can he find the pace that he needs? I mean, we've just in that sector alone found 0.3 of a second nearly, down from 1.2 of a gap that Hendrix Fallat has. Now that Felix is getting into the groove, and Hendrix must be feeling that all the time as he comes into this bowl section, but Felix Tandy also showing that by setting the fastest lap of the race, as well as Zach Andrew.
Another move down the inside. That was Ollie West, the restricted cart, straight down the inside to take overall third in this race.
It's
Brilliant
bonkers.
move. Now, Felix Tandy is out there by himself a bit now. No, with the help of Ollie West, of course. Are they going to be able to get him
Ollie West
oh my
is
gosh,
going for
Ollie
it.
West goes
Up
for
the
it.
inside for P2 overall in the race in the iArmy interclass. No, in the restricted class.
In the restricted
class.
He is battling with the micros. There you go now. Ollie West up into P2. Felix Tandy will want to get ahead pretty quick if he wants to catch up to your race leader. He's got 1.5 minutes plus a lap to do it. It's not impossible, but with these carts battling behind, it's going to be pretty difficult.
And is Ollie West going to possibly catch up with Hendrix Fallat? What a story this would be in another class for Ollie West to catch up to the leader. The gap is 0.8 of a second. There are 2 laps to go. It looks like that Hendrix Fallat can open up down this start-finish straight, use that slight extra power they've got in their engines, but when we get into the technical section, Ollie West is obviously finding time in these turns and the braking zones to get the jump on the rivals around him.
Well, exactly that. He is. Look, as Ollie West then leads us down in that second place, down towards hairpin 1. He is not short of time here. He is keeping Felix Tandy right behind him then, and we've got 40 seconds to go. Are we going to have 2 more laps? We're going to have to see as we reach the last stage of this lap. Is Felix Tandy now going to go in on Ollie West? Yes, he does, and he gets the move done, to be fair. Smooth move down the inside at hairpin 2.
You can see the pace difference there,
but is it late now? Is it too late now for Felix Tandy? Or is Ollie West just going to have to try and come back at him then for this overall P2? Yep, he is. And he gets the move done. Brilliant move then down the inside in this final sector. Gets the move done. Again, like you said, technical sector where speed possibly matters a little less. Obviously, he's in the restricted cart, so he is the underdog in this situation. However, that is not letting him be affected. Wow, our race leader then is... He's in the distance as we approach the final lap. Ollie West pulls a bit of a gap on Felix Tandy. Harry Riley and William Hatton then are your top 5 entering the final lap.
Yeah, I mean, Ollie West, whatever happens here, what an achievement I think it is to be up there in the mix with the guys in the other field. And if he keeps going like this, the gap is now down to half a second. Can Ollie West do anything? You can visibly see, can't you, Kiel, the gap coming down out of this hairpin, although Felix Tandy will want to use this straight line speed coming out of there and trying to get... You're on board alongside here. You can see a battle for Hendrix Fallat, mixing it in with... Who was that? I think a backmarker that was getting involved with the other. That could also come into play here. Hendrix Fallat, is he going to hold off Ollie West and Felix Tandy? Ollie West must be chomping at the bit because he knows it's so close, but they're going to come across the line, and it looks like Hendrix Fallat's going to take the win, and Ollie West on the road. What an incredible performance from Ollie West in the Water Swift. P2 overall, wow, great performance. Felix Tandy rounds off the podium.
Absolutely. I mean, Hendrix Fallat, another driver who we've seen do incredibly well today so far. He has shown his pace very strong. Brilliant drive, deserving of the win. Ollie West, I mean, amazing. He really made his mark there in that race. He showed them all of those micros that he is where he wants to be, where
Give him a micro.
Exactly that, right? Well, where would he be if we gave him a micro is the question. Felix Tandy then in 3rd and Harry Riley in 4th. William Hatton rounds out your top 5, but let's take a bit... Look, further down the grid, Jensen Darlow. It was unfortunate for Jensen Darlow, obviously, at the start.
Made a good recovery, though, from where he fell down to, then up to P12 to finish off there with his Jackson Motorsports team. Zach Andrew, though, yeah, unfortunate. We were singing praises between Zach Andrew and Hendrix Fallat earlier on today. Working well as privateers in those earlier heats. But look, Hendrix Fallat's come up on top. I'm sure he won't mind, and has taken the trophy for this round anyway. And some really great racing there. And I'm sure the Evolve Motorsport team with Ollie will be very, very chuffed with that.
Well, exactly. These micros and Water Swift Restricted never disappoint. But let's move on to the next, Jake. All right, and it's time for the Water Swift final. Thank you very much. We have seen some phenomenal overtakes from who will be, spoiler, your pole sitter.
Chester Forks, yes. No spoilers. I don't mind having spoilers for this particular grid before we run you through it in a second, because Chester Forks, one of the overtakes of the day, which you'll see back on the live stream available to everyone to see on YouTube. And thank you to all of our loyal members that are joined as part of our SlipStream broadcast here, powered by Alpha Live, and are catching the finals of the first round of the TVKC Club Championship in 2026, the first one ever being live streamed and beamed into your homes, your iPads, your cars, wherever you are, basically, around the world. And yeah, Chester Forks, if you were watching earlier today, the E-plate holder, one of the overtakes of the day around the bowl section, around the outside, carrying incredible speed and just driver ability and skill. Will Chester Forks need to employ some of that in this race, or will he'd be comfortable with this completely different dynamic? Let's get on to that starting grid then for our Water Swift Inter category. And Keo, take it through.
All right then. We did spoil it. Your pole sitter, Chester Forks, joined by Fusion Motorsports' Alfie Davidson on the front row of the grid. Mason Hibbert and Ilyas Sami on that second row. Evan Owen then and Dimitar Uznov round out that top 6. Oliver Say and Margaritis Kovakis are your top 8. And then inside that top 10 then is Harry Chapman and George Greaves. Yeah, Harry Chapman a bit unlucky in some of the heats. We're looking to hopefully move up from P9 there. Frank Morris, Teddy Higgs, Cody Vertigan, Hero Say, Harry Faville and Travis Giddings is P16. And P17 finishing off with your favourite driver at the moment, Oliver Kleinfelter. I feel like I owe it to them. Oliver Kleinfelter. Brooks. So Kleinfelter, all good. Let's see how Oliver gets on in this race. Well, of course, we've got our drivers coming around now, that final sector ahead of the start of their final then, the main event of their day. Obviously, we've got Chester Forks on pole position. Like shortly behind then on the second row, you've got Ilyas Sami, teammates. They have worked together throughout the IAME Euro Series, for example, phenomenally together. So they are going to hopefully get together during the initial part of this race. But here we go, we are underway. No, we're not. They will go
it's
around
a false start.
Again.
This is almost like the equivalent commentator's curse for us, done by the karting drivers, because we are like really anticipating, like, yes, we're going, and we're not. It's unfortunately part of the furniture in the world of karting, isn't it? And you know, similar in other motorsport formulas, if there's a problem on the lap or they don't quite all line up in the grid spots, then they're going to go for another lap like they are. Well, exactly, but like I was saying, it'll be interesting to see if those DK Academy drivers can work together. Another driver who we saw promote himself up, he did well in that last heat that he had, Evan Owen, the XL Motorsport car, starting on the third row. Good opportunity there with Dimitar Uznov, who managed to come through that grid effectively in his last heat. You've got the Say brothers again, closer together. Hero Say is starting on the 7th row, a bit further up than what he had done before, and then Oliver Say on the 4th row. Are those brothers going to come together? We will see. Do you think there's some family competition with that? There's got to be, hasn't there? They're travelling around together, I'd imagine, and I'm sure there's some bragging rights in the awnings, particularly as we go towards then another start here. Alfie Davison, as you were saying, some impressive performances earlier today in the Euro IAME Series. Pole at the Euro Series, finished 5th in the Winter Warmer. Will it all come good then, as we look like we might be going racing? We are go for the Water Swift Inter final and up into P1 and holding the lead. I think that was Chester Forks doing a great job to hold position there as we come up through the bowl and onto the Litchfield Bridge for the first time with a 10 minutes and 1 lap duration of this race. Chester Forks, though, has got a lot of company, as you'd imagine, straight away on his tail of Mason Hibbert, trying to find the inside over the curb, taking quite a lot of curb there and not getting great momentum, getting a bump from behind in P3. Chester Forks going very defensive on Mason Hibbert, and will that now even out towards the end of this first lap? I mean, we saw Chester Forks go defensive there into hairpin 2. Obviously, that's a risky game to play at the very initial start of this race. You've still got over 9 minutes to go, which now has brought Hibbert on right onto his back bumper, as we'll see as they go around the last sector. Is this going to be a bad thing? Is he going to lose out on the lead because of that? We don't know. However, is that going to be a problem for him, even if he does? We have seen some phenomenal overtakes so far this weekend from both drivers running out in front, and it's going to be Hibbert that goes down the inside at turn 1, and it gets the move done.
Mason Hibbert then steals the lead off Chester Forks straight away. Up towards the ball they go, and that is Ilias Sami then taking a look down the inside of the Fusion Motorsport car. Alfie Davidson, and I think he does get the move done to be right behind his teammate. Yes, this is good for those Danny Curl Academy teammates, like we were talking about before, but that is Hibbert leads. And then DK Academy squished in between that Fusion Motorsport sandwich now with that Alfie Davidson down in fourth, down towards the second hairpin they will go. Oh, and there is a launch down the inside from Alfie Davidson down Ilias Sami. That promotes that makes Ilias Sami now down into fourth. Brilliant move there from Alfie Davidson, and this is bringing though everyone else into contention right behind them, as pretty much the whole grid now goes one by one, bumper to bumper through the final sector.
It's the closest grid we've had for a long time. We've been saying in the previous races with these Fusion Motorsport teammates, Alfie Davidson, Mason Hibbert, God's sake guys, work together. But it looks like they might be, because they've got Chester Forks in the Fusion Motorsport sandwich. Who's going to come out on top here as we go into the bowl sections? Chester Forks going to remain the filling, or is he going to come the bread and sliced in half, metaphorically? Not literally, as we come through the Litchfield Bridge. And it is looking like now that it's a 1-2 for Fusion Motorsport.
Yeah.
My analogy sort of came true there with Mason Hibbert and Alfie Davidson, Chester Forks in third.
Exactly that, but then towards the hairpin 2 they go. Now, you've got the two Danny Curl Academy carts behind. You saw Chester Forks look behind him, obviously would have taken a bit of a breath of fresh air. It's Ilias Sami behind him. They will be hoping that these two teammates can push each other, as they have done in various of the championships so far this year. But of course, they're up against Fusion. It is Fusion versus Danny Curl Academy so far. You've got literally just under 7 minutes left of this race to go. It really is all to play for still.
Yeah, Ilias Sami and Chester Forks are teammates as well, so it's a two-team battle at the front of this Walter Swift Inter final. We've got 6 minutes, 40 seconds on the clock, plus 1 lap towards the end. Sun-drenched conditions here around the PFI circuit. The two teammates, though, don't look like they are teammates when they're going side by side like that. Ilias Sami and Chester Forks coming out on top. Ilias Sami was up into P3 ahead of Chester Forks. It looks like Mason Hibbert is out in the lead ahead of Alfie Davidson as we come into this first hairpin. And it's as you were, but Ilias Sami up into P3.
Yes, exactly. That was Ilias thinking, I am a bit faster than you, Chester, right now, which it looks like he is, as he's going to pull a gap ever so far. He pushed Chester through that turn 1 and then thought, no, our best chance to catch on to these Fusion Motorsport train is for me to go in front. Now you see Chester Forks right on that back bumper, runs a little bit wide there on the exit curb, but no problems just yet. Now, these front 4, by doing this, they are pushing each other now, and it is bumper to bumper for Davidson and Sami as they head around the final sector. Is there going to be a change for this, or are these two teams going to realise that they still have 5 minutes, well, just under 6 minutes to go of this race? Let's see then as they head through turn 1. Yeah, and it is a train. Fusion Motorsport and Danny Curl Academy train then as they head. Oh, and it is a move down the inside for Ilias Sami at the bank. Beautifully done as he sandwiches himself. Both teammates get sandwiched now in between the Fusion Motorsport cars. Beautifully done. Teammates working together once again, as we've seen. Down into hairpin 1 they go then. Are they going to do it again? Yes, he does. That is Ilias Sami straight for the race lead. His teammate follows him straight through. Chester Forks, beautifully done. His team will be thrilled with that. The teamwork working together. Now it is Fusion Motorsport on the back foot. They're going to have to do what they did before.
And it switched again, and I was going to bring up to you, Kiel, you know, when two teams are going together like this, you've done a bit of car racing. What's the strategy here? Are you going to lunge now? Are you going to stay like this until the end? And basically the two teams there have just flipped. So surely one of these drivers has got to take the onus with a minute to go and take the initiative upon themselves, because they want to take the trophy themselves.
Well, exactly. We will see. Through turn 1 they go again to the Bruno Ferrari S's, and Chester Forks is pushing his teammate Ilias Sami then, hoping to get a bit of the lead on these Fusion Motorsport drivers. There is still 4.5 minutes to go plus a lap. There is going to be hopefully no too harsh battling yet at that front 4, as we saw a battle further down the pack. But that is that...
Chester Forks went up into the lead momentarily.
Yes,
and then Ilias
Sami back down the inside. And there's a Fusion car going to follow him. That is Alfie Davidson that follows him straight down. Now he puts his teammate on the back foot as Chester Forks drops down into 3rd position. But Mason Hibbert is on the outside as they head towards the S's. It looks like he's going to send it in. Is he? Oh, where do those 4 end up? Yes, and now it is. Ilias Sami leads the 2 Fusion Motorsport carts and his teammate now at the back of the pack. His teammate will be a little bit disappointed with that, got left behind. However, is he going to send in now? Just under 4 minutes to go, but his teammate is going to have to work hard if the Danikel Academy drivers are going to try and pull that gap together. Still time, but we will see as they head over the line once again.
Don't you just love this circuit? Incredible racing, so close. All 4 of them have been nose to tail for this laps. And there's a dive in the inside there from Alfie Davidson on Elias Sammy. Can he make it stick? Up into the bridge section, goes around the outside. And his teammate, Mason Hibbert, also joining for company. How will it come out off Litchfield Bridge? The 2 Fusion Motorsport teammates now ahead. We've got Alfie Davidson in the lead with Mason Hibbert out front, and it's now Chester Fawkes behind the teammate of Ilias Sammy. So Ilias Sammy and Chester Fawkes now chasing after. Oh, and they're going to fancy going up the inside again of the Fusion Motorsport team and bouncing on the kart. Please, where's the extra speed? I need to get towards the Fullerton S's ahead, and I think just about managed to deploy that. But look at the gap now that's forming with Alfie Davidson, who's probably thinking, well, I can't work with you anymore, my teammate, Mason Hibbert. I'm going to go out in the lead.
Exactly that. Just seen there is some love in the live chat for Alfie and Mason. Well, that's working so far. Alfie Davidson pulls himself about just over a half a second gap, which is more than what we have seen for the rest of this race, against Ilias Sammy, Chester Fawkes and Mason Hibbert, who is going to be working hard to get himself back in front. However, we're all quite separate now as the drivers head up the bank for the first time. Your leader, Alfie Davidson. It's looking like a steady lead for him now, but that might not be for long, as Chester Fawkes and Mason Hibbert now, who are your second and third drivers, are going to be working together. There's 2 teams now that are going to have to work together if they want to catch Alfie Davidson
and
down
look
into
at the other drivers. Sorry, coming into the mix here, wanted to mention that Harry Chapman is now on the back of what was a 4-horse race, is now almost a 5-6-horse race. This could go any way.
Well, this is what starts happening when you battle with kind of 4-5 minutes to go. Now there's 2 minutes to go, and it could be a 6-car battle. Look.
It's all materialising, all coming together for an extraordinary finish here at this Walter Swift Inter final, which has been so close throughout our 10 minutes plus 1 lap of action with a minute and a half on the clock and a lap to go. It looks like we're going to get 3 laps in, as we see in a moment, maybe 2 laps, a penultimate one, and a defensive line then from Fusion Motorsport on the start-finish straight with Chester Fawkes now in P2. Alfie Davidson defending hard for his life up into the bowl section, across up to Litchfield Bridge and taking the normal racing line at the moment. But Chester Fawkes looks like a dive out the inside on the inside of the Litchfield Bridge and has come out in P2. But now Ilias Sammy behind, looking at his own teammate.
Is he going to get the move done? Oh, well, your race leader goes very defensive there, and it pays off for him heading into hairpin 2. But who is this around the outside? That is car number 32, Harry Chapman, coming into play. He's saying, nope, you're all battling too early for me, so I am going to, some wheel banging there, heading towards the final sector. Okay, now it's a 5-car battle for the lead. And there's still just under a minute plus a lap to go, Jake.
It could go any way here when we finish our action across the start-finish line for the final time. We are going to get 2 more laps from here then, onto our penultimate one now with 25 seconds on the clock. Chester Fawkes is your race leader this time, with teammate Ilias Sammy in front, and now Harry Chapman sits in between the 2 Fusion Motorsport drivers of Mason Hibbert and Alfie Davidson. It's all changing all of the time. How's it going to look by the end of the first sector? We'll go out of Litchfield Bridge down towards hairpin 1. And Chester Fawkes looking over the shoulder of the teammate. Will Ilias Sammy be helping out with this stage of the race, or will there be no help at all? Harry Chapman's also pressuring the 2 teammates at the front.
Here we go. That was Alfie Davidson deciding to go down the inside of his teammate then on the last lap. He's thinking, nope, it's all man for themselves now. But that wasn't what... now the 2 Danikel Academy drivers have been separated. And then Harry Chapman goes defensive there on Ilias Sammy But Ilias Sammy gets the move done and he still runs in second. Chester Fawkes lead then by Ilias Sammy, who just set the fastest lap. And Harry Chapman, who managed to make himself all the way up into that 3rd place. Then you've got the 2 Fusion Motorsport karts, and we are nearly on to the last lap of this race. It could really be anyone to play for at this point. We have seen a new leader every single time, but Chester Fawkes leads once again into your final lap of this race. Through into the Bruno Ferrari S's they go. Chester Fawkes, Ilias Sammy, Harry Chapman. Are we going to see there is a Fusion kart round the outside? I think that's Alfie Davidson.
And who's that at the inside?
The teammates are battling. That's Ilyas Sami down the inside of his teammate. Does it stick? Oh, now the teammate's going defensive.
Super defensive on the inside there into hairpin 1 and trying to throw it around the inside, but Chester Fawkes hangs on to P1. This is now 5-6 drivers, and Ilyas Sami gets put towards the back. Harry Chapman has come up from P9 into P3. Can he have any say in this final action as we go to the Mike Wilson complex? It's Chester Fawkes out in the lead ahead of Mason Hibbert and Harry Chapman. It's two different teams, but now Chester Fawkes hanging on. Can there be any final moves or throws up the inside? Harry Chapman now is looking like he's going to get up into P2. No, he gets put out wide. Who is going to take victory here? Chester Fawkes looks like he's built enough of a gap. The checkered flag is waving, and across the line, Chester Fawkes takes victory out of Alfie Davison. Dimitar Uzanov from nowhere takes P3. Harry Chapman is P4, and Ilyas Sami down to P5. Mason Hibbert P6. Oh my goodness me.
I mean, that, ladies and gentlemen, is what happens if you start battling with 4 minutes to go. You have 6 drivers then come into contention, and you've got Dimitar Uzanov, who managed to finish in that 3rd spot on the podium. Dimitar Uzanov started 6th on the grid, that 3rd row, but wasn't quite in that lead battle. That is what you call a dark horse when they start battling. You don't even see them, and they head straight through to that podium position. Harry Chapman nearly had it there. He nearly had that 2nd place, but just got pipped, and Ilyas Sami unfortunately ended up on the grass on his way to hairpin 2, and that was a 5th place finish for him, but a fastest lap.
Had to take the risk in Harry Chapman there, you know, stick it on the outside, hopefully could take the inside through the final couple of corners. And when you're in the final and it's the last lap, you've got to try it, haven't you? But, you know, very respectable still from Harry Chapman to P4. And, Dimitar Uzanov, who was not up in that battle for very long, up from P6 into P3, I don't think will be very displeased with a podium there. So it's great racing action here live on SlipStream, powered by Alpha Live on an Alpha Live YouTube channel, and it's Keogh Lynch and Jake Peach bringing you action of our finals here, which are all pretty much keeping us on the edge of our seats, or what if we did have seats, so keeping us on the edge of our toes.
Absolutely on the edge of our toes. There is some love there in the chat for Alfie Davidson, your man who managed to finish on that 2nd spot on the podium. But let's move along then to our next final of the day.
And then now we are on to Junior X30 in this final, and we were really waxing lyrical about some of the runners in this in the last few heats that we've had for this class. I mean, George Edgar in 2nd. We've had Alfie Brown, who's on pole position. We'll show you the full grid in a second. But Katie Donaldson up in P8 as well. And you've been really impressed with her performance this weekend.
Yeah, well, the last weekend at the Challenge Cup, she did really well. She has had podiums here recently. She has been doing well. However, then dropped back a bit in the heats. She did start P4 for the heats. She's starting on the 4th row of the grid for the final. Obviously, anything can happen. Submani Kira then is another who has come through in the heats. She had kind of an unusual qualifying down in 13th, but she will start in 6th, which puts her in a good, strong position. We know Submani can hold her own out there, the Fusion Motorsport driver, she's a driver who's supported by F1 Academy, and she is part of the Alpine F1 junior driver team. So very supported she is. You've also got Freddie Wood, cart number 38 out there, who also hasn't had a great one in the heats, but managed to come through. Green flag is out then, and you can see from afar your drivers entering. But let's have a look at your Junior X30 grid.
Alright, so they're making their way out for the warm-up, and whilst they do that, we'll run you down our pole position starter then from Alfie Brown. George Edgar in 2nd, Freddie Wood, Jacob Backler, Aaron Richardson, Sugmani Kira is in P6, Night Measures in 7, and Katie Donaldson, who we're just talking about there, in P8. George Clark is in 9th, and Jake Flewitt in P10.
Night Measures another one to look out for. He came through very well in the heats after not great qualifying, coming through from the back. But you're just outside your top 10. Jacob Marfles, Nathaniel Hodgkiss, Henry Clark, Million Tomlinson, Max Say, Max Mason then in 16th. Just inside your top 20 then, Holly Musk, Harry Myers, Simon Stone and Charlie Blenkenstop. Finley Allen, Sam Mott, Finley Hines and Adam Bourne. And next on the grid will be Alex Riley, Izzy Wykes, Enzo Butterazzi, who did do pretty well in the last heat, Orion Meta, Zach Champney, Jack Wish, Katie Clark, and Jacob Nairn.
And Izzy, and we'll just finish on there. Ayrton Lima Evans, Archie Bullock, and Ollie Brunt. Izzy Wykes on the formation lap had a little bit of a turnaround and hopefully has refound her position down towards P26.
And that is Dirk there in the live chat saying this is going to be another great race.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. We've had some phenomenal finals.
He also
He's
did
managed
just
to
say
stay dry.
absolute cinema. Will this race be absolute cinema as well for a Junior X30 final? Here we go then.
Ooh.
Defensive move straight away over from Alfie Brown into turn 1 and straight up into the bowl section towards the Litchfield Bridge for the first time.
It was a brilliant start then for Freddie Wood. It's refreshing to see him get a good start as they head into the Litchfield Bridge. Up into second then as they went through the Bruno Ferrari S's, and yes he is, but he's got pressure then from that Fusion Motorsport kart who is going to go straight down the inside. Yes, that is 95. That is, I think is that Alfie Brown that's gone down the inside? That is a Fusion Motorsport kart now up into second. But your pole sitter leads.
Yeah, I think we possibly have Freddie Wood and Sugmani Kira up there in the mix because they're both the Fusion Motorsport drivers in this field at the moment. They're up in that top pack, and it's been an impressive start then here and a great getaway for Alfie Brown in the Brill kart to lead us across the line ahead of Aaron Richardson, Freddie Wood and Jacob Backler. I think, yes, Sukmani Kira was up there, but in P5, Night Measures in P6. And what is that, a dive down the inside there from Aaron Richardson on Alfie Brown to possibly take the lead with 8 minutes and 30 seconds or so on the clock plus 1 lap. Again, a bit sideways, a bit of a tank slapper out there of the Litchfield Bridge, getting towards hairpin 1. It looks like here the Fusion Motorsport liveries of Aaron Richardson and Freddie Wood are out in the lead. So from 5th to 1st, not a bad showing so far.
No, absolutely not at all. And here we're seeing some drivers who didn't have the most lucky run in the heats doing really well. Freddie Wood, for example, Sukmani Kira, another one. Let's find Katie Donaldson, unfortunately didn't have a good start once again. She is down there in 13th, but hopefully she'll be able to make her way up. However, this is the 3-kart battle then for the lead. These drivers, we are going to guess they're going to have some strategic thinking out there, especially it's a 1-2 for Fusion so far. They are going to be trying to get away as that. Alfie Brown takes all of the exit curb and some more on coming out of the last corner, but through the Bruno Ferrari S's they go. That doesn't take any time away from Alfie Brown as they are heading up now over the bridge and down towards hairpin 1 for the first time. George Edgar then, your fastest man on track, won the earlier heats, but he is down in 5th so far. I'm sure we're going to see him charge his way back up the grid. He is just behind Jacob Batchelor then. Down through here, hairpin 1 they go, and that is Aaron Richardson that leads Freddie Wood and Aaron Brown. Aaron Brown is going to go down the inside. Beautifully smooth move then from Aaron Brown to take that second position. Freddie Wood takes a look behind him and sees Jacob Batchelor and George Edgar, your fastest man on track, are pretty close behind, so pressure is still on for them. There you go then, that is Richardson, Brown, Wood and Batchelor in your top 4.
And like in previous races, where in the previous race we just had Fusion Motorsport trying to work together with the OMS karting team and Chester Forks and Ineos Sammy, are Fusion Motorsport going to work together here with Freddie Wood and Aaron Richardson, because they've got Alfie Brown in the middle at the moment for company, with Aaron Richardson leading the way into the bowl section through those S's and up onto the bridge for this next round of a 1400 metres or so here at PFI International, coming down towards hairpin 1. Who is going to chance a move up the inside? Are we looking line astern though? Yeah, we're going to be smart.
Ooh, move down the inside. Was that George Edgar going up into 4th position? Yes, it was. Your fastest man on track promotes himself up into 4th, and he will be hunting down that car number 38 of Freddie Wood now. Right, through to the final sector they will go.
And a look of all over the back of the Aaron Richardson's car, looking at Alfie Brown, and we are just hearing sadly that Alex Riley of XL Motorsport has retired. He did start in P25, was making a couple of places progress in this race, but unfortunately is not going to take any further part in this final. So sorry to see that. Never like to see any driver retirements, but we like to see overtakes like that. Up the inside, Freddie Wood wants to catch up with his teammate Aaron Richardson for Fusion Motorsport and say goodbye to Alfie Brown. So it's now a Fusion Motorsport 1-2.
Yes, good job. That is Aaron Richardson. Freddie Wood now, that leads you into, but no, not for long. That is Aaron Brown. Straight back down the inside, wasting no time. He says, nope, don't have time for this. and George Edgar then that follows him down into third. That is how quick things can change when you're battling here at the front pack with these like 8 drivers that all are contending for the lead right now. That is Freddie Wood then down into 4th position. Aaron Brown and George Edgar can promote themselves, and now they are right on the back of your race leader, seeded kart number 3. Aaron Richardson, there you go. Round the final sector, they will go. No change, no further change to that race lead just yet. However, as they come over the start for in a straight, once again, we will see. They all take a look behind and see they are all pretty close together. Your front 3 are smart. They're realizing they have got to work together for at least a lap, I believe, because round the bank they go. There is no time in between these drivers. Freddie Wood latching himself straight onto the back, going over the Litchfield Bridge.
Can I just say, there is less than a second between our top 5 right now, and there might be even less between first and second, because as they move up the inside from Alfie Brown, who retakes the lead from Aaron Richardson and also brings George Edgar through for P2 for now Fusion Motorsport, and now behind these 2 drivers, and it's all to play for once again.
That was brilliant from Alfie Brown and George Edgar working together. George Edgar pushes him straight through then into that second position. Great job there. We have Katie Donaldson, unfortunately, who didn't have a great start, under investigation for something. I'm not too sure what that is about just yet, but here is your race leaders then. That is your race leader, Aaron Brown, George Edgar, Aaron Richardson, Freddie Wood now down in 4th, but he is going to be pushing that fusion kart of Aaron Richardson so they can all catch that lead pack. Just under 4 minutes to go, still anything can happen, and it is George Edgar who is striking for the lead. Is he going to get the move done? And he does, as he leads, takes all that exit curb, but it's going to be the Fusion Motorsport kart now on the inside for hairpin 1. Yes, it is, but who's going to get it? Yes, it is. That is Aaron Richardson, who steals his P2 back. George Edgar, this is giving him a slight bit of a run, which is not what these drivers want to be doing.
Not at all.
They do not want to be giving him a run, if anyone. But Freddie Wood is going to say, I'm going to work together with you for now. Shall we suspect that? But here we go. Through the final sector they will go.
I'm sorry to say, Alfie Brown, just spotted on your screen there, has gone right down the order from leading this race to 5th place, caught up in all the very fierce battles that has emerged over the last couple of laps. And you see George Edgar, though, not minding one bit, because he's out in the lead at the moment ahead of Aaron Richardson and Freddie Wood, the 2 Fusion Motorsport teammates. And on screen here you're seeing Sukmani Kira in 4th and Alfie Brown in 5th. Alfie looking to get back up to where he belonged at the start of this race, with 2 minutes 50 and a lap on the clock, getting out there on the curbs. And we're seeing come round there to work together this car there, and didn't really listen to that signal, because the driver behind dived up the inside and then claimed it back.
That is Alfie Brown
on Sukmani Kira, trying to force the issue. But if they keep battling like this, they're going to get further away. Sukmani Kira has now got a good own gap behind, has got a bit to chase down. Here she is, and have been impressing you this weekend a little bit as well.
Well, yeah, exactly. Sukmani Kira is obviously, she's a rising star. She is one to look out for now in that 4th position. Obviously, like we said, an unlikely qualifying in that Fusion Motorsport kart. Now, it is a 2-3-4 for Fusion Motorsport. These 3, come on, they've got 2 minutes to work together and catch your reigning leader of George Edgar, who has been very dominant today so far, as he was last weekend, coming away with P2. Prior to that, he was also second over at the Winter Warmer. So we will see what they are able to do. Free Fusion Motorsport kart. Sukmani Kira goes purple and sets the fastest lap so far, as she is going to latch herself on to these Fusion Motorsport karts of her 2 teammates. Round hairpin 1 they go. No
She's
change
catching
just yet. Go towards hairpin 2, and Aaron Richardson is on that back bumper of George Edgar, but not quite. No moves just yet. He's saying, I'm going to let my teammates get to me and push me, as there is still 1.5 minutes to go.
She's definitely catching, because the gap now between the top 4 is less than 9/10 of a second, and George Edgar has now got a bit of company. I feel like his kart was coming towards him in the middle of the race, and now he's starting to really feel the pressure from the Fusion Motorsport drivers behind of Aaron Richardson and Freddie Wood and Sukmani Kira, a trio of Fusion Motorsport drivers hunting down the Mick Barrett Racing outfit of George Edgar into the bowl section. Coming up to the bridge here for the first time, it looks like they're going to bide their time as they get further around this lap. George Edgar not really looking over his shoulders, got to focus ahead and retain the lead here, down towards hairpin 1. Sukmani Kira trying to tail up, but that's a nice dive up the inside. George Edgar, good defensive driver, went to the apex early of hairpin 1 and now covers off hairpin 2 that he's coming up to right now. A tight line, can he get a cutback here from Aaron Richardson
round the
outside, and hasn't seen that coming. Absolute
And he got the move done.
gaggle of carts coming round the outside there of George Edgar, which means that George Edgar is now down and Aaron Richardson is in P1.
I mean, that was a brilliant move then into the S's. That was Aaron Richardson then into the lead. Freddie Wood follows him into that second place. George Edgar down into third. Marnie Kira sitting there in fourth. She's going to be ready to pounce then. But nope, there was a change to that as Freddie Wood goes straight down into fourth. Marnie Kira now in third, and George Edgar, of course, puts himself back in that second spot. But Aaron Richardson leads then round the bowl and onto the Litchfield Bridge. They will go. George Edgar is going to be gunning to get this lead back. We're on to the penultimate lap of the race. So much action is going on, and these front four have a gap to themselves to Alfie Brown, who is going to be sitting in clean air right now. So it is this front four for the race lead. Let's have a look.
So Marnie Kira, wouldn't you just love her to come through here? It's been sitting back in fifth and sixth, is now right in the mix for third, the fastest lap of the race at the moment, sitting half a second off the lead. Wouldn't you just love to see her come through and take the win? But of course there's going to be something to be said about that with her other Fusion Motorsport teammates, and also George Edgar there in second position, sitting pretty on the back of Aaron Richardson, 3 tenths behind. It looks even closer than that now as we come across the start finish line then for the final lap here in the Junior X30 final, this first round of the Club Championship at TVKC. George Edgar with the fastest lap. Who's up the inside?
Oh, is he going to go around the outside? George Edgar looked like he was challenging around the outside there, but he doesn't quite get the move done. And now Marnie Kira is coming into play. Is Marnie Kira going to make the move in the last minutes? I reckon she's going to dive down. Yep, she's going to try. George Edgar tries to go defensive.
She's up the inside.
Doesn't quite make a sit though. She's up the inside. Hairpin one. Brilliant move, but George Edgar is going to come back. Yeah, he's going to come back at hairpin 2, but Simoni's on the inside, and she does manage to get the move done. And George Edgar runs a little wide on that rumble strip.
That's amazing.
But Marnie Kira promoted herself up into second. Aaron Richardson still leads. Freddie Wood waiting then to pounce just behind. Is he going to try it? No, but George Edgar then takes the move. Oh, takes it back from Marnie Kira and Freddie Wood.
Where did that come from?
Right at the last second.
George Edgar up into P2. Wow, incredible. And across the line, Aaron Richardson takes victory. Oh my goodness.
I mean, that is exactly what we have expected, seeing these Junior X30s out. Phenomenal drive, of course. Aaron Richardson, the Fusion Motorsport drivers, the three of them worked together in that top four for as long as they could. Marnie Kira, bit of a dark horse at the start of that lap. She was kind of sitting, being patient, did manage to get herself up into P2, but George Edgar was not having that in the final sector of the race. And he did take that second back from Freddie Wood and Marnie Kira. Alfie Brown then was in a bit of clean air in the end by himself after he dropped back a bit. Yeah, pretty smooth race for him. Fifth, not too bad for the Club Championship. Obviously, it's
I think you'll be disappointed with how that turned out. However, as things went throughout today, you know, probably feeling okay, but Marnie Kira, great performance there, and I think she could be very happy with what she was fighting with up there to P2, P3, P4. All, you know, top 5 were in less than a second of each other. The top 5 or 6 were within a second of each other earlier on in the races before that at some point. So there was so much happening in that race, and we really hope you enjoyed it as much as the other ones because this is great comments from Dirk1285 on our members only live stream at the moment. Even I have a dry throat after that race and I didn't commentate. Well, yes, can you blame us? Can you blame us? Because the racing has been so great to watch. We really thank you for your support on our Alpha Live YouTube channel, and we hope that you will continue to do so as we go throughout the rest of our finals for today. And well done and congratulations then to Aaron Richardson for Fusion Motorsport ahead of George Edgar and Freddie Wood on the podium.
I mean, Dirk is joining us in the live chat all day. Love that. Thank you from you for the support. Like you said, we have greetings to Richard Brown on the grandstand. If you hear us, which I'm sure you do because we are loud and clear down there, being blasted out of the tannoys. But that's another heat. That's another final done of the day. Senior X30 is up next. Let's have a look.
And yes, here in the commentary box, as someone has pointed out here, Dirk, once again, are people asking questions? Who's in the commentary box for this weekend, says DS15 Racing. Oh, well, it's Keol Lynch alongside me, and as I've been called by Dirk, Mr. Peach. Is that what I will be known as now? I don't mind. You can call me whatever you want, as long as it's not derogatory, I'm fine. It's Jake Peach alongside Keol Lynch here in the commentary box for the rest of our action today. And now we're on to our Senior X30 final, which also, obviously doesn't really mess about, does it, with Senior X30 final? Yes, we're on to a Senior X30 final shortly, into our next action of the day, and running through these races as quick as we ran through the heats. Not as quick because there's 10 minutes and a lap, but it feels like it's just constant fast-paced action here, and that's what you get for being as part of the live stream.
It does. We are absolutely flying. But before we run you through the whole grid, we're going to have a quick look. We've obviously got Lewis Bird at the front row. Spoiler again. He won here at the Winter Warmer. However, DNF'd last weekend, so he is going to be charging and hoping for more so far. That is Lewis Bird. But let's bring you to your grid. Here we go then, your man on pole. Like we just said, Lewis Bird, who is looking to redeem himself after an unlucky DNF last weekend. Aaron Brown, then the PF International driver, is joining him on the front row. Cameron Edmonds and Joey Brown are on row 2. Leo Lestrange and Ethan Woodward are in your top 6 then. Monty Brathwaite and Sam Lewis. Spencer Allen and Dorian Malek are your top 10 for this Senior X30 final.
Yeah, Oliver Meek, Alistair Cresswell, Alfie Gallagher, Sam Horton, Hayden Eldridge and Scott Riley are there, rounding off your top 16. Liam Karabalov, Max Yule, Luke Taylor, Reese Newburn, Alex Wiley, CJ Bennett, Noah Sells and Joao Castro. Followed by Ethan Higgins, Oscar Cole, Katie Ashman, Aaron Last, Bradley Heath, Alexander Dibenetis, who had a great heat and actually won one of the last heats. So unfortunate to see him in P30, but that's the mixture of the races he had. Bailey Brooker and Daniel Bridgen is P32, followed by James Harris, Charlie Phil and Josh Jones in P35.
Reeled them off there, Jake. Well done.
Thank you so much. We had to get going because they're about to come down and around to start and form on the grid. You can see our race Clark now, I believe that is Dan Ashton in charge of things down there at the moment today across lots of championships. Are we going racing for a Senior X30? Yes, we are. And has that been a retain in the lead for Lewis Bird? It certainly has in the premium karting, but messy start, as you said, Kiel, of some people going across the grass, and equally there as well, someone getting a bit out of shape on that inside curb going up to the bowl and the Litchfield Bridge section, but it's all happy sailing for Lewis Bird at the moment because he is flying out in front in his premium karting machine. Meanwhile, in second and third, it is a scrap between Aaron Brown and Joey Brown. Also, is it between the two Browns already? Has it changed that much? We will try and confirm things as we come round for this next lap. You can see on board there the number 57, Cameron Edmonds, is fighting it with Joey Brown. So yes, still all with 3, 1 and 2 and all 4 places to fight amongst right here at PFI.
I think that is actually Joey Brown and Cameron Edmonds who joined each other on the second row of the grid. I'm not too sure where Aaron Brown has ended up just yet, but I think he dropped down ever so slightly in the initial lap of that race. Right down the main straight, then they go for the first time. That is Lewis Bird, your premium part, who is out in front. Good start for him. Joey Brown, Cameron Edmonds then, who joined each other on the second row of the grid. Theo Lestrange, Monty Brathwaite. Where is our PF International driver, Aaron Brown? He has obviously not had a good start.
Aaron Brown down in P21 has lost 19 places on that opening lap. But meanwhile, Lewis Bird has got company up the inside there from Joey Brown. And Joey Brown, and the other Brown, is doing it for that name and showing how it's done at the front of the field for his Fusion Motorsport team, coming out that hairpin then into the Fullerton S's and towards the Mike Wilson complex, which is the most technical part of this track. Now Lewis Bird will be disappointed that he's lost that position that he worked hard to hold at the start of the race, but will now be probably using this 8 minutes that they have to size up, and probably about 20 or so overtakes will happen in the next 5 laps, let alone the rest of the race.
Is that what we're going to guess? Who's going to count?
I can't count in this picture. I'll try and count as I try and commentate alongside Keol as well, but up onto the bowl section and to the Litchfield Bridge here. What's happening here?
Third position, that is Theo Lestrange, who puts himself in third, I believe that is. Yes, Joey Brown leads. Lewis Bird and that is Cameron Edmonds now, who is going to take a defensive line. Yep, lose some run on those leaders, but he's going to take a defensive line and keep that third position to Theo Lestrange. And then your fastest man on track is Monty Brathwaite, who is getting involved there with the 2 karts in front. There is the battle there for that kind of 4th, 4th and 5th position. But here is your leader in the Fusion Motorsport kart, followed by that premium karting kart of Lewis Bird, who did lead the race, not just yet, but Strange came out then in that top spot of that pack. In that 3rd position, Monty Brathwaite, fastest kart on track. Cameron Edmonds then in that 5th position.
Scott Riley under investigation at the moment by the race stewards down in P9, maybe for a bit of a coming together on the opening laps. We didn't see what happened there, but we'll see how that pans out. A dive down the inside there from one of the midfield runners on board, and that is looking at the Sam Lewis battle, and Ethan Woodward down for 6, 7 and 8 with Max Yule. Here we are though, joining at hairpin 1 between our front pack of Joey Brown and Lewis Bird. Back to Theo Lestrange, Cameron Edmonds and Sam Lewis with the fastest lap of the race right now with a 57.14, 4 tenths quicker than our race leader at the moment.
And that is going to be Cameron Edmonds who comes out of that pack in 3rd as of right now. However, it is looking like it's going to change as, there you go, you see your leaders just head through Sector 3 now. And it's Cameron Edmonds, Theo Lestrange, your fastest kart on track, Sam Lewis and Ethan Woodward in that sort of second battle for the drivers. See, there's 6 minutes to go, and these 2 front-running drivers they're making their way. Are they going to work together and push away? And it's looking like they are so far. Ooh, some defensive lines then towards the back there from that. Oh, I'm not too sure who that was. I think that was Max Ewell, possibly.
Yeah, it looked like Max Ewell and Scott Riley battling it out.
Early stages for those defensive lines, but here we go then, over the Litchfield Bridge, and there is your leaders, pulling a good gap. They both look back at the same time and realise, yep,
this is nice.
They're in a good position, exactly that. Therefore, Joey Brown in the, therefore Lewis Bird in the premium karting kart says, nope, I'm going to wait. We've got 5.5 minutes to go. Not too early. Beautiful move down the inside then. From 175, that was Max Ewell down the inside of Monty Brathwaite at hairpin 1.
Another nice move there. Talking about moves up the inside, that was a nice opportunist move. We saw further back down the order, and that was between, I believe, Sam Lewis and Ethan Woodward. Sam Lewis maybe going up on the inside of Theo Lestrange as well. So we will see how it all unfolds again for another lap. We have 5 minutes to go, plus 1 lap of the Senior X30 final here at PF International, and going up through the bridge section, Joey Brown and Lewis Bird breaking away now with a 1.5 second gap to the leader of 3rd place, Cameron Edmonds. As you can visibly see that on your screen right there, leaving Cameron for dead, and it's all about these 2 drivers and a 2-horse race, seeing how this is all going to unfold towards the end.
Well, exactly that, and there is going to be no change for that race lead too far. These 2, they know how it rolls. They are not going to change and battle it out, as there is still 4.5 minutes to go, and Cameron Edmonds is too close for that. That would bring all of them into contention way too soon. But Lewis Bird does get a slightly better run. Are they going to be side by side, your leaders, this early on in the race? They are. Is that? Yes, that is your new race leader. That's Lewis Bird, straight down the inside.
Yeah, it was a great move.
Done. Great move then. Joey Brown now down into 2nd. Is this bringing Cameron Edmonds closer? Ever so slightly. You can now see him taking all that exit curb and run slightly onto the grass, then in 3rd position. Yep, and the gap closes to those front 2 drivers. Sam Lewis, Ethan Woodward round out your top 5 of this race, but the fastest driver on track is now CJ Bennett with a 56.9. Track conditions, perfect again, Jake.
Much better than they were earlier today with our torrential downpour for some of our Mini-Max drivers and our Walter Swift restricted drivers. The reason Joey Brown sort of probably lost the lead there to Lewis Bird is that Joey Brown got pretty out of shape coming through the Fullerton S's onto the exit curb and allowed Lewis Bird to capitalise, smelt the blood and went up the inside and capitalised on claiming that 1st position. But now it's role reverse, because it is Joey Brown becoming the hunter once again after Lewis Bird, and seeing in this 3 minutes or so we have left plus 1 lap where he can position himself, where the final move can be made, because they look pretty odd as even at the moment as we come across the start-finish line.
But look at this, Jake. Your man in 3rd position, Cameron Edmonds, he is closing in on those front-running karts. He's got clean air so far. He's got a good gap to the drivers behind and clear air in front. It looks like he's got 3 minutes to catch these 2 in front and then battle. They're going to start battling it out, which, as long as he is there in the firing line, that's going to work for him. Lewis Bird then leads. Joey Brown does not go for the move down into hairpin 1. He knows to stick right behind that premium kart. Cameron Edmonds then right behind in a bit of a gap for himself. Sam Lewis and Max Ewell now up into 5th. Got a bit of a gap for himself. He is up 13 positions. It has been a brilliant charge then for that Mick Barrett racing kart. And Scott Riley then, again, brilliant drive through the pack so far in that now 6th position, up 10 places. Brilliant drive, but there we go then. Here are your two leaders. Round through the last sector once again. 2 minutes and 20 to go. They're being smart with it.
Unfortunately for Alfie Gallagher, down in P27 at the moment, would want to be where Joey Brown is right now, because he was the vice champion of Senior X30 in this championship last year, but not reading the same at the moment. It is Joey Brown and Lewis Bird fighting it out here with 2 minutes to go as they come out the Litchfield Bridge once again. Are we going to start to see some posturing, some moves up the inside? I think we are going to see that up the inside, but thinks better of it to commit fully to that move into that first hairpin, coming towards the second hairpin. Lewis Bird doesn't feel like he needs to really heavily defend at the moment, but he might have to deploy a bit of that as we go forward. Their nose cones looking pretty clean at the moment. We've had some clean racing from these two out the front. Cameron Edmonds, that gap is steadying now. It was around about 8 tenths. It still is around about 8 tenths, ebbing and flowing around the lap. We come through the Mike Wilson complex, as you're seeing those guys to the right of the picture. Behind you're seeing Max Yule there, the fastest lap of the race, with Sam Lewis behind as well. And they come across the start-finish line with what is probably going to be maybe with 3 laps to go, depending on how quickly they get round here, with 3 laps to go.
I think you're right then. And there's going to be another switch for the race lead. Beautiful move there. Joey Brown straight down the inside. No messing around that Fusion kart. Now leads over the Litchfield Bridge and down towards hairpin 1. Lewis Bird now they've got a lap plus a lap to go. Now Cameron Evans is really going to come into play here if Lewis Bird thinks to go in. But no, he thinks, nope, I'm going to push Joey Brown around, even though he just took the race lead off me, as they do the same thing through hairpin 2. Down towards the third sector gate go, but that 57 car is getting pretty close. Not to mention Max Ewell, your fastest man on track, charged through the grid. He could also come into contention here.
It almost seems like to me, what I'm reading right now on the race, and if you're seeing this at home particularly, is that Lewis Bird is quite happy for Cameron Edmonds here to be getting closer up. Lewis Bird, I think, has the confidence that he can catch right back up to Joey Brown, stick a move on the inside and knock Joey right back, and then take advantage of these other 2 drivers around him. It definitely looks like that. We've got 10 seconds on the clock, so this is our penultimate lap here for our Senior X30 final. How much are you enjoying the action? Let us know on the live stream on our Alpha Live YouTube channel if you are a paid member, because you might also see now a move up the inside attempted, but this is exactly what I was talking about from Cameron Edmonds, who is hoping that he'll take advantage of this, and Lewis Bird maybe wanted to use Cameron Edmonds as a bit of a pawn piece, maybe not for him to get ahead so quickly, and a close collision there on the back of the bumper of Cameron Edmonds. This is all kicking off.
Exactly that. Cameron Edmonds now going defensive, which Lewis Bird is not going to be happy about, because that does give Joey Brown ever so slight breather as they go through the Mike Wilson complex. We're going to see how it plays out then as they head along to the main straight, and this will be your final lap of your race. Joey Brown leads then in that Fusion kart to Cameron Edmonds, Lewis Bird, and your fastest man on track still Max Ewell, who has charged his way up through the grid now. These 5 drivers, as they go around the bank, they are straight through.
Sorry, it's not on the live stream, but I just saw that out of the corner of my eye. That was a coming together in the midfield, which has caused a yellow flag. But here we are on the lead still.
Let's not miss this, Jake, as we head through. That is Joey Brown that still leads then into hairpin 1. No change on this final lap just yet. Is there going to be change into hairpin 2? Yes, your man in second is to go defensive. That's Lewis Bird putting it straight up the inside of that 57 car of Cameron Edmonds. Is it going to make it stick though? Yes, he does. Beautiful move. Makes it stick then through the Fullerton S's. Oh, now very defensive as that brings Cameron Edmonds back into play. Nope, but Lewis Bird, brilliant defending there. Oh, wow, we have caught unexpectedly.
Gone across the grass. I think that was Sam Lewis getting a bit mid-air, but hopefully looks
them out of the race.
Okay, Joey Brown puts his hand in the air, fist pump in the air for the Senior X30 trophy here at round 1 of the club championship. An unfortunate coming together there at the end as we were getting into the complex. Max Yule into P3 ahead of Cameron Edmonds, given what happened there in those final few corners through the Mike Wilson complex. And obviously we don't want to see what happened with incidents like that, but it's all part of the racing, and misjudging where people were trying to go and making those final lunges on the final lap of this weekend is bound to happen.
Well, exactly that. That was a brilliant drive from Max Ewell. He set, not only did he set the fastest lap of the race, up 15 positions in that Mick Barrett racing car. That is pretty impressive. Obviously, in the heats, he was doing well, obviously making those positions up so he could do that. Didn't even quite start up there. in the final, but obviously his team himself, they have figured it out right in time to finish on the podium here at Trent Valley Kart Club Championships round 1. There we see a driver who unfortunately didn't finish in the black Alpine Star suit, and he will be having to recover himself. An unfortunate end to his weekend, but he's got another chance next month. That is the 274 of
Luke Taylor down.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, he didn't get further in that race. But in the end, quite a fairly convincing victory for Joey Brown there. A nice bit of comfort at the back. But we go from Senior X30 on now to our Junior Rotax final. And as if by magic, I did get the right class this time. It does help when I know what's coming next. Keol is also fully across what's happening as well. It's Keol and myself, Jake Peach, bringing you coverage of the TVKC Club Championship Round 1 here at PF International, and we're on to another race already again.
And of course, this is the first finals of the Trent Valley Kart Club Championships that is being live streamed. This is the first event that's been live streamed, and it's going to be live streamed for all 7 rounds this year, which is really exciting for everyone involved and everyone at home. Now, I feel like we have seen so much of Junior Rotax today because of the sheer amount of drivers that are on this grid. Obviously, the Junior Rotax grid absolutely excelling, but obviously we have the 35 drivers then that made it through. You have our drivers who made it from the B final. That is Benjamin Lawn, kept Devin Taylor, Aaron Berridge in the end did make it through, and Joe Neal. So that is your top 4 from the B final. But we've got John Richardson, who we've been seeing doing really well on pole position before we take you through our grid. Ewan House, someone who you said you were familiar with at the start of today. He's done well. I'm
really liking his racing and racecraft in 2026, and coming into this and sort of being like just having not a fair amount knowledge of karting, enough of, but learning all the time of how all these different championships and these different drivers are operating out there on the grid. And Ewan House, from the action I've seen of his 2026 season so far, really impressed with what he's been putting out there on track at different circuits as well, and has been showing the same mettle for PF International today as well. But this is going to be great battles up the front. I think we've got Noah Moulton in the mix as well, and James Fabricius, who was also doing pretty well in some of the finals.
And then the Coles Racing car starting on the second row, Zach Turner. He's got some love in the live chat. Carly Turner telling him good luck for the final. Well, let's hope that luck plays out then, as we are almost underway. We just have some karts recovering themselves after the last action-packed final, and then we will be underway.
I assume I've been Carly. Are you Zach's? Hopefully Zach's mum, auntie. Or we're loving seeing the support today. But thank you for becoming a SlipStream member to see how Zach is getting on, and spread the word of our SlipStream events too, as we want to grow the coverage of karting and just show you how amazing grassroots level motorsport is to watch, as well as obviously what you might see on more mainstream services and TV and all the other series that you might watch in the motorsport world. Karting definitely is up there.
Well, exactly, and what Alpha Live, obviously SlipStream, powered by Alpha Live, what they are doing is brilliant. It's opening up the opportunity for more club championships like Wilton Mill Kart Club, that I'm sure you will be at an event with us during the year. It's opening the opportunities for not only the drivers that get to the events to be watched by their family, to be streamed on the internet, but it is a really good opportunity. And obviously, by being a member, you are on the live stream with us right now.
Yeah, and please keep your comments and love coming in. We've got a good luck message for Jack Bowie, who will, of course, be going underway very, very soon.
Starting in 22nd on the grid. So starting in row 11, he's got some work to do, but with Kidix UK, but I'm sure he can get the work done when we are underway with the final.
And also a shout out for Henry James as well, as part of Team Evolution in 30th place. We're loving seeing all of your comments coming in. Another one for Jack Bowie there, and fingers crossed for Zach, of course. Glad I can finally watch the TVKC Club rounds. So are we, and so we are so excited to bring it all to you, and it looks like we're about to get going then for our Junior Rotax final. Let's see how the grid is shaping up in full then.
All right then, green flag is almost out as we will see our junior Rotax enter the grid for the final time today. It's John Richardson and Ewan House on the front row. Zach Turner and Teddy Cooper then round out your top 4, Harrison Bishop and Noah Moulton. James Fabriscus and Harry Holland. And then inside that top 10 then is Ronnie Smart and Harvey Sargison.
Shay Hilton, Jackson Lane and Oliver Precious follow them with Hayden Fisher, Oliver Peters and Lydia McLaughlin in 16th place. Followed by Hugh Hobson, Harry Myatt Waldron, Harry Harvey, Logan Hartsthorne and Tobias Johns, Jack Bowie. We were just mentioning some support on the live stream as well. Max Wheatley and Joshua Robinson down to P24, following on to Fletcher Jameson in 25th. Tyler Mason-Gray, who was in the midfield of some of our heats too, performing quite well in that pack. Aston Brown, Alex Lynn, Ethan Guest, Henry James, Hakeem Bart, who was up in the P2 and P3 places in the heats as well. Down towards P33 for Devin Taylor. Benjamin Lawn wanted to be making a recovery drive for his Coles Racing team, and Joe Neal and Aaron Berridge rounds off your 36 runners in this packed junior Rotax final grid. As you say, it's one of the most busily contested grids in this paddock this weekend and in this championship.
Absolutely.
Very popular.
And we'll see what our B finalists were able to do. Those 4 starting at the back, well, obviously, we watched them dominate the B final, and we will see what they are able to do then coming into the final. And we are nearly underway. It's going to be a very slow start then, as they are aggressively tyre warming for the final time today.
Yeah, coming round the Fullerton Mike Wilson complex and coming now onto the start-finish straight. You can see them on the tram lines and they're all underway now and getting up to speed. They'll go hurtling towards turn 1 and we are going racing, and out in the lead John Richardson holds on to P1 for the global karting team, and then behind you do have the Coles Racing of Ewan House. Let's see if Zach Turner can get up in the mix, as well as Teddy Cooper as well, who started off in P4 with their Tony Kart chassis, and it looks like there's always going an early defensive manoeuvre to fend off and around the outside move. What an overtake from P2 from Ewan House from Coles Racing, round the outside of John Richardson into the first hairpin, wasting absolutely no time to take the initiative in this race.
I mean, brilliant move there. It was a strong start from John Richardson, but Ewan House from that Coles kart says, nope, absolutely not. I am much faster. Takes a load of curb, goes on 3 wheels, and manages to still make it round that car.
It was 3 wheels,
safely
wasn't it?
And brilliantly. It was absolutely 3 wheels. Round the last sector, they will go then, and that is your leader then in the Coles kart, ahead of John Richardson there, who has just dropped down into that second place. However, we have seen him drop down and come back up.
Oh, it was Zach Turner. It wasn't
today.
Ewan House, it was Zach Turner. Because they've both got the same liveries, and so it's even a more incredible jump from P3 into P1. Ewan House then in P3 himself, so Zach Turner out in the lead with that incredible overtake at the start there. Apologies, we try and keep track of all the different drivers. They are proving very tricky because they're moving every single lap and every single sector, and now John Richardson looking like he wants to push on because Zach Turner's going a bit too slow for his liking.
Well, yes, John Richardson tries to get the move done. He doesn't quite do it though. Oh, as he is pushed slightly onto the grass there, squeezed as they head into the Fullerton S's. Bit of a squeeze there for John Richardson by Zach Turner. Gone defensive, decided, nope, not going to let you through this time. Ewan House then leads. Then it is Harry Holland and Teddy Cooper in your top 5 in the initial stages of this Junior Rotax final. Again, first final on stream for Trent Valley Kart Club Championships. How brilliant is that? Here we go then. Round the main straight once again and into the Bruno Ferrari S's. There you go. Zach Turner leads. John Richardson, that is Ewan House, that Coles kart, who is now just going down the inside. Is he going to make the move stick? We will see as they go over the bridge. And yes, he does. He gets the move done. John Richardson now into 3rd position, getting hunted down by that Harry Holland kart. We saw him do very well, the underdog from the Heat 2. We will see what they are able to do. But it is now the Coles kart in 2nd place.
It was a very, very strong, forceful move from Ewan House to get in front of John Richardson and join his teammate Zach Turner up front, because Ewan House wants to have a good old fun battle out the front in P1 and P2 to take victory here at this Junior Rotax final and carry some prestige at the end of round 1 here at PF International at the TVKC Club Championship as they come across the start-finish line then. Once again, we are having a little look behind and a move up the inside. Ewenhouse wasting absolutely no time. A fastest lap set by Ewan as well. Almost though looked like a bit of a look behind saying, can you come and work with me? You take the lead now and then we'll see where we're at in a few laps time.
It was. Obviously, teammates. Looks like it's going to play out well, as Ewenhouse did just set the fastest lap. Obviously, it's the early stages of this race. The teammates are wanting to get away, which hopefully Zach Turner now, who won the PF plate last weekend, he is going to be wanting to let his teammate drag him along, so to say, in the initial stages of the race. John Richardson then and Harry Holland are right behind, hunting them down. Cole's karts, though, going to try and work together, which is working for them so far. But Teddy Cooper then is coming right into play as he is right behind that 70-70 kart of Harry Holland.
Ewenhouse doing a little radiator adjustment there, trying to let some air into his junior Rotax machine. But Zach Turner, right on the back, as you say, with that PF plate, knows this plays very, very well indeed, because he's got the initials on the back of his go-kart. Will that bother Ewenhouse one bit? Of course it won't. And they look like they're going to be working together. They are building a slight gap there of around about half a second rather, over John Richardson in P3, and coming down there towards hairpin 1. John Richardson will be all aware that that's what the strategy will be between these two guys right now, and will be wanting to upset this apple cart as we go down towards the second hairpin here, and it all looks very well behaved, unlike with other Fusion Motorsport drivers in earlier races. They wanted it more for themselves in the earlier parts of the races, but that could all change with these Coles Racing guys when we get to 2 minutes on the clock. It could all happen.
Well, exactly. Still 5 minutes to go. It is a good teamwork from the Coles karts. However, it's not quite working for them as John Richardson is catching right up to the back of the PF plate holder, Zach Turner. As we approach the final few corners then and onto the main straight once again, it looks like John Richardson is right on the back. I don't think John Richardson is going to wait, though. He is going to want to split up these two teammates before he doesn't have the chance. Is he going to have a look around the bowl? Not quite just yet. He slots himself right back in behind that PF plate holder, but he is right there. Is he going to go down the inside? And yes, he is. John Richardson pushes Zach Turner ever so slightly wide, but gets the move done. However, now has to go defensive. Yes, he does, but he will make the move stick and finish in that P2. That is Harry Holland then up into third. Brilliant job from him. Zach Turner unfortunately demoted down into fourth now. Though Teddy Cooper, we can see right at the back of this pack, just set the fastest lap. He is into contention.
But whilst all these are batting out, I wanted to point out there that people like Harry Holland and Teddy Cooper, somehow, when we had these two at the front of the two teammates of Ewenhouse and Zach Turner, out in front as part of the Coles Racing team, they were breaking away, and now it's become a 5-horse race as we had in other finals and other heats today, and it's all happening here for John Richardson, who's got Zach Turner all over the back.
And he makes the move.
And up into the inside, trying to make the move up through the bowl section. Does he have the inside line over the Litchfield Bridge? He certainly does, and Zach Turner completes that very fine move. It's Sailor V, goodbye, up the inside there, down towards hairpin 1.
Well, it wasn't a cold sandwich for too long, because Zach Turner straight down the inside then at just after the bridge complex. But it is Ewenhouse, Zach Turner, now John Richardson back into that third position. 3.5 minutes to go plus a lap. Anything can happen at this point. The top 6 are pretty much getting away with themselves as they enter now the final sector.
Yeah, and we can see, Ewenhouse out there in the lead, ahead of John Richardson still, and Zach Turner trying to chase down. So I think Zach Turner didn't want this to pan out the way it has, although it looks like Zach Turner, I believe, is up into P2. Yeah, so it's now once again a Coles Racing 1-2 as we head up for 2 minutes 50 plus 1 lap, and kind of what you think would be reassured by the fact they've got that strength in the duo out at front, because they can fend off John Richardson, and they now know the John Richardson strategy and the moves he might throw.
That is Zach Turner that is leading, but not for long, as Ewenhouse straight down the inside at hairpin 1 once again opens up the opportunity for John Richardson. Is he going to make it stick?
Yeah, no, Zach Turner out front now.
At that coal cart, nope, but it is John Richardson then. That is going to be side by side coming through the Fullerton S's. Is he going to get the move done? It's going to be ambitious, and he does. Takes a load of curb then, just John Richardson, but he gets the move done on the coal cart as he drops back and has to now go defensive. Zach Turner leads to John Richardson, Ewenhouse, Teddy Cooper, and Harry Holland now, as these have all spread out a bit, coming through the final sector now. That all got quite hot. But Zach Turner came out in front and John Richardson just behind, who is now going to be hunting down the PF plate holder who just took the win off him, the lead off him in the earlier stages of this race. 1 minute 50 to go, plus a lap. Let's just take a slight look further down the grid. Fletcher Jameson up 16 places, running in 9th. Brilliant job so far. And there was also one of our B finalists who did a phenomenal job. It was Joe Neal. He's up 16 places, running just inside the top 20, but great moves. Here we go then. We see a bit further down the grid coming into, that is a Jack's kart, coming into hairpin 1. Round hairpin 2 they go then, and on sector 3 once again. No change for the top 4 just yet.
No, and we can see Harry Holland there on the back of Teddy Cooper trying his best to force a way through for 4th position and kind of be in the mix now at these front 5, because Zach Turner and John Richardson is a 3/10 gap. Ewan House will want to be closing up and not too much worrying about what's behind him with Teddy Cooper and Harry Holland. I'm sure the focus for Ewan House is on the top 2 on your screen right now, coming through the chicane under the bridge and up through the bowl once again. John Richardson really not pushing too much, maybe as much as we were seeing in the last couple of laps. Might want to save his tyres and energy and, well, arm muscles to going into this next hairpin and leave it to the final lap to make the ultimate move and make it stick to take home this Junior Rotax final trophy today.
Well, you're right, into hairpin 2 he goes and he signals there again to the race leader to work together. He obviously took a small look behind him and saw it was Ewan House, the Coles teammate.
I think that's mind games though, I really do. I really do.
Do you think, well, are we going to see then a move into the final sector? Are you going to be right, Jake? Not just yet then, as Zach Turner still leads. John Richardson, Ewan House, Teddy Cooper, Harry Holland. But your fastest man on track is Fletcher Jameson, who has come absolutely crawling through the grid. Oh, we have a change further down the pack in that top 5. Is that a change for P3?
I'm not sure. I think
no, not yet.
It might have been as far down as Ronnie Smart. But we're trying to see all that all pan out. But here we are at the front then. We are on the final lap because they just missed the timer. It went down to 0 onto the final lap, and Zach Turner is holding off John Richardson with every inch of tarmac here at PF International. But at the back, oh no, we're focusing on the...
Didn't quite make a stick. Ambitious move around the outside, probably not going to work, but he looks like he's going to go around the outside at hairpin 2. Is he going to make it stick? No, not quite. He just attaches to that back bumper, but this is really bringing Ewan House already into contention. Final few corners, who's going to make it stick then? John Richardson took a look behind him, thought he'd try and make the move, bit too ambitious there, tried to go around the outside, didn't quite work. That was the only option he had though to give it a go, and there you go. That is going to be Zach Turner, your race winner for round 1 of the Trent Valley Kart Club Championships. John Richardson takes that well-deserving P2, and of course the Coles teammate Ewan House in 3rd. Brilliant drive from the Junior Rotax. We have seen plenty of all of those drivers today, and they have done phenomenal.
I think Ewan House was really hoping for a victory to come out of that one there, but so hotly contested was that Junior Rotax final. And as you say, there are others to come. There are other rounds to come this year, particularly with all of those runners. But we can give, of course, great mentions as well to Teddy Cooper, who stayed in the position he started, Harrison Bishop, also Harry Holland up 2 places. But how about this from Fletcher Jameson for the Jack's Motorsport team, making up for the disappointment of Jensen Darlow in the other category, up 18 places, the number 96. So an amazing performance from Fletcher Jameson, up into P7 there, right up from P25. So really great performance all round. And some great individual performances there. Some disappointment there will be out there. You mentioned Joe Neal earlier on, who was one of our B finalists. 18 positions up. Benjamin Lawn, 16 positions up. So great to see all the action there in Junior Rotax. Now let's now go to our Senior Rotax final.
This is our final heat of the day. Final of the day.
Is it final of the day? Okay. It certainly is, and I was surprised there because I thought, there feels like there's 10 more to go or that kind of thing, but no, we have absolutely flown through the races this afternoon, and we are on to the final event then of what's been a very exciting first round of the club championship here at Trent Valley Kart Club.
Ooh, we see someone absolutely sprinting down the track.
Oh yeah, trying to recover their car. I believe that was from the last race? Just trying to see.
Yes, it was.
The number 14 going across the infield. Not quite seeing who.
It must have been from a race prior, as I don't think we had a number 14 in that.
No, so it must have been from a couple of cars back. It does seem out the way and all safe, of course, wanting to get all the racing going. But particularly for our senior Rotax final, yeah, just completely amazed at how quickly this day has gone for the first round of the Club Championship. I'm sure we'll round things up as senior Rotax is done towards the end, Keol, and sort of assess the day and how the performances have gone, who we've been most impressed by. But we, of course, are very intrigued to see how this senior Rotax final plays out.
Absolutely, because it is certainly not over yet. Senior Rotax, some may say the final event of the day. The main event of the day, obviously, our last final to go. Let's have a look at our grid, because on the front row of the grid, Brandon Truman, he's starting second on the front row. He won here in the Challenge Cup. Is he trying to make it a win for 2 weekends in a row? I'm sure he will. But on pole position, who is going to challenge that is the Coles car of Joshua Turnbull. Brandon Truman, of course, joins him on the front row. Mikey Walker did a brilliant job to get up to the second row of the grid, joined by Jamie Pirelli. Adam Wooden, Lloyd Hare are next. James Tester and George Holbrook then. Liam Hartley and Jacob Grun are in your top 10.
P11 is Ollie Goodyear, Arthur Brownlees, and Zuigas Pravilionis is P13. Priam Lilang is P14. Drew Preisner is P15, and Jared Fox-Whiteley rounds off this screen. And then P17 is Bailey Waters, Bailey Heath, two Baileys alongside each other. Oliver Walker, Sean Berry, Joe Yor, DeJean Bennett, Matthew So, and Callum Sims is your 24th.
A bit further down the grid then, Ruben Mamalok, Max Sheldon Haywood, Hugh Moulton, Lorenzo Cordell, Joel Dixon Cohen, George Cav, Samuel Kirkwood and James King. And rounding out the grid will be Austin Johnson, Jake Fisher, Corey Fowler and Oscar Schwizvek,
yes, because we were following his progress in some of the heats as well. And, of course, the drivers towards the back, Corey Fowler was right up there in those races too. Who knows? Right from the back of the grid, is it possible?
Obviously, those are our B finalists who have made it through. So those are the four that are going to be trying to prove themselves. Not all of them should have been there after some unlucky heat runs, but they have the time to prove themselves now as they slowly come round the final sector, and we are nearly underway then with our final heat of the day. Let's go in the live chat. This is the last opportunity to talk to us now.
It is.
For the next round.
Send your love in on the live stream. We have our steward on the side of the track there, happy to commence racing. We're going down the tram lines. Oh, we go. Yes, we are. And who's leading into turn one? There is a bit of a scuffle in the midfield, but we have Brandon Truman then up into the lead from P2 to take over Joshua Turnbull and set the pace then as we go over Litchfield Bridge and up through the bowl section. And coming out there, you can see the Dan Holland Racing livery of Brandon Truman then leading the way.
Exactly that. Grandstand's full. Brandon Truman, but not for long, because Joshua Turnbull straight down the inside, wasting no time at that hairpin one to take the race lead. Brandon Truman will slot in right behind and push him, as that is the Jax Motorsport of Mikey Walker and Jamie Pirelli then right behind. There is already some defensive lines going towards the Fullerton S's, but there you go. Your leader will now be Joshua Turnbull and Brandon Truman right behind in that DHR cart.
Yeah, and you can see that there's already a lot of defensive driving going on, because maybe Joshua Turnbull, who is up into P1 once again to retain As You Were from the start, knows that he's got quite the challenge on his hand for the next 9 minutes or so round this PF International circuit. They come through the very fast first turn up through, winding round to the left of the bowl section here at PF. Oh, 70 miles an hour top speed. Oh, again, spun rounds there. That's an unfortunate incident we've just seen all play out there. I believe that was the...
Oh, move the race lead. Sorry to interrupt. There you go. Brandon Truman, the DHR cart, straight down the inside for the race lead. This puts the Coles cart on the back foot, as another DHR cart now. Is that Lloyd Hare coming into contention? But no. Joshua Turnbull says absolutely not. Closes the door and will come out with the race lead. Ooh, that is slightly grassroots. But no, Brandon Truman then back into the lead, and he will run slightly wide. This is now going to give, of course, the Coles cart the run. Yes, it does. Now 2 DHR carts into... Oh, and now this brings in the 2 more carts into contention. It is a 5-cart battle right now that's brought the Jax Motorsport car into contention as they go round the final sector. We are going to see as, here we go, they come round the start-finish straight for the first time. Your order is Joshua Turnbull, Lloyd Hare, Adam Wooden, George Holbrook, Brandon Truman then are your top 5, but there is going to be a switch then for that 3rd position. That is George Holbrook, I think, heading straight down the inside. Beautiful move over round the bowl. Over the Litchfield Bridge they go then, and Joshua Turnbull leads you towards hairpin 1. Is Lloyd Hare going to go in the early stages? Joshua
like
Turnbull says, let's go together, and he does respect that. He listens to that, which is a good move at this early stage of the race. With grandstands of 4, you can see as they head round hairpin 2. George Holbrook and Brandon Truman then right behind with the 57 cart of Jacob Grun attaching onto the back of them. It is a 5-cart battle then.
And Jamie Perilli is the unfortunate victim then of that first action. He was running in P3 and just got tagged round in a bit of racing action. Of course, other people might have their opinions on what happened there, but that is how it looks at the moment. And it has left this top 5 then coming across the line with 7 minutes to go. Josh Turnbull, Lloyd Hare, who has come up from P6 up to 2nd place, right in a great position. Who's that throwing a move up the inside?
That is Brandon Truman, the DHR car, going straight up the inside of George Holbrook to take back that 3rd position. He is wasting no time. The DHR car just gets in front of that Jack's Motorsport car. That is Turnbull that now leads into hairpin 1. No change for that race lead. Lloyd Hare is being smart with it so far. Brandon Truman then leads of George Holbrook. These 4 have quite the gap for themselves. There's probably not going to be too much chopping and changing just yet. We've got 6.5 minutes to go. These seniors are clever. If we look further down the grid, then you've got Mikey Walker, unfortunately dropped back to that 8th place. However, he's got time to make his way back up, and Jugadas Pavlonis up into 9th.
But let's also keep an eye on Hugh Moulton, who's come up 12 places all the way back from P27, is currently sitting in P15. So while we are watching the front pack, can Hugh get anywhere close to this action with 6 minutes to go? And a dive down the inside there. Lloyd Hare has gone up the inside of Josh Turnbull into the bowl section and retains the lead. And also Brandon Truman coming through there on Josh Turnbull. So it is a 1-2 at the moment for Dan Holland Racing at the front of this race.
Brilliant move, but Brandon Truman is going to say, nope, I am trying for that not to happen. No,
goodness.
That is Joshua Turnbull in the Coles cart trying to slot himself in between the 2 DHR cart, which he has done. That is Lloyd Hare leads Brandon Truman, and I'm not sure who that is then in the Jack's cart just behind. That is car number 60. George Holbrook now into 3rd place with that is Jacob Grun right on his back bumper as they go round sector 3. 5 minutes to go, it's all to play for still. Another one to look out for then is your reigning club champion, James Tester, car number 27. Not too far up the grid just yet, but he has got time for sure, especially if this front pack keep battling. There you go then, Lloyd Hare leads Joshua Turnbull, George Holbrook and Jacob Grun.
Another move up the inside though, doing basically exactly a carbon copy of the move that that Lloyd Hare did to Josh Turnbull before. It is now Josh Turnbull up into P1. Coles Racing swapping with Dan Holland Racing out at the front. And does it look like it's going to be a switchback move for Lloyd Hare into hairpin 1? It's nothing doing there. Does he need to cover the inside? Hopefully has got all that covered off. But now in P3 you've got George Holbrook as well getting in on the party, up from 8th place, a privateer up into 3rd position. So an impressive performance from George Holbrook out there and right in the mix at the moment. But as we've seen in the last 2 laps, anything can happen, anything can change.
I mean, absolutely. There is still 4 minutes plus a lap left to go of this race. We have had a new leader. I think every lap going around the bowl is a prime overtaking spot for these seniors. We will see, though, as Joshua Turnbull once again in your race lead. Lloyd Hare, though, right on that back bumper, joined by George Holbrook and Jacob Brun at that. Front pack, no move yet.
Bit
this
wiser
for the
to it
first
this
time
time.
round the bowl. As they go over the Litchfield Bridge and towards hairpin 1, we will see the order. It's Turnbull, Hare, Holbrook, Grun and Truman, who is on the back of that pack now. There is going to be your dark horse, but your Coles cart goes defensive with it, but makes it stick. Good defending then at the front. But Lloyd Hare, he's going to take the optimal line around the outside. Is he going to get it done? Nobody gets a good run. This brings George Holbrook into play, but they all slot into where they started as they enter then sector 3.
Yeah, George Holbrook is right in the mix here, although I say that there are now 5 or 6 drivers in the running for all this. Oh, look at the top 5 here. They're all separated by half a second, which is incredibly impressive, showing how close and competitive this field is. Who's getting a bit out of shape out wide there? Jacob Grun doesn't want to be getting out there. He's letting Brandon Truman back in front for P4 as we go up into the bowl section. Anything going here coming into this bowl section? No, nothing doing at the front of the pack, but George Holbrook will be very aware. that Lloyd Hare is all over the back of him, further back, and also Jacob Grun as well. Yeah, Brandon Truman also trying to get back up there to help his teammate Lloyd Hare in P2 right now. They're coming back through the second hairpin. Joshua Turnbull looks like he's got some momentary control over the senior Rotax final as they come into through the Fullerton S's and the Mike Wilson complex, and taking as much curb as you dare to gain lap time, or possibly too much curb. You might lose a bit of lap time, and when it's this close, you don't want to be giving any shred of seconds or even half a second away when they're all fighting and vying for position. Coming down then onto the start-finish straight once again, the human DRS that maybe is there but might not be there in physics is coming into the fold as Josh Turnbull tries everything to stay in front.
All right, 2 minutes ago, like you say, Josh Turnbull still out in front. Is that going to be for long, as Lloyd Hare in that DHR car is right on his back bumper as they go over the Litchfield Bridge and towards hairpin 1. Obviously, the hairpin's prime overtaking spots, but are we going to see this with 2 minutes to go? Yeah, looks like we are. That is George Holbrook. Oh, sideways over the curb, 3 wheels. Unfortunately, he now misses out from that, and that is another DHR car, Brandon Truman, who promotes himself up into third position, I believe that is. Yep, George Holbrook unfortunately didn't quite get that move done. However, minute and 30 to go. Crazier things have happened. Joshua Turnbull still leading, not quite managed to pull himself any gap really though. Just yet as they head round the final sector then, and we are about to see them head onto the main straight once again. There you go, you see the mic hanging down, but Joshua Turnbull leads Hare, Truman, Holbrook, Grun, and your fastest man on track, Hugh Moulton. Does he have time though to get to this group lead pack? Possibly he is just at the back of it.
Yeah, we said keep an eye on Hugh Moulton because he's been coming up through the field right now, has made 21 places up from P27. What an incredible performance this will be, no matter what happens out in P6 at the moment. But if this all happens at the front of the pack where right now with Joshua Turnbull and Lloyd Hare and Brandon Truman, if they're backing up all the time, Hugh Moulton's going to be on the scene in not too long. You can just see him come in the back of the picture there. 2.2 seconds is the gap to Joshua Turnbull at the front.
Into sector 3 then, your race leader is parking it. That is Joshua Turnbull in the Coles car. He is absolutely parking it. He thinks, can I defend for this long? He is going to wait and see. He's going to hopefully come around the final few corners now and onto the main straight, hoping for a good run out of that corner so he can hopefully get another lap, because this will not be the last lap. This will be the penultimate lap of the race. Then he's probably thinking, oh no, did I defend too soon? But he gets a good run into the S's and up around the bridge. He still leads Lloyd Hare and Brandon Truman, the 2 DHR carts, all over the back of him, and then George Holbrook in the Jack's Motorsport cart latched onto that pack with Jacob Grun. Ooh, more defensive lines then into hairpin 1 for that DHR cart. Lloyd Hare is going to try and get the move done, but no, not quite. Fair enough then. Your Coles cart sticks to the lead. Round hairpin 2 they go. No further change. Brilliant defending job there from that 319 car.
Great defensive driving. Lloyd Hare has had a warning flag in P2, I still believe. Yeah, it come across the timing lines, they were sort of neck and neck, but it is Josh Turnbull still out in front. Lloyd Hare now though down to P3. Brandon Truman in front of his teammate. There is no team orders or strategy going on at the moment now, because we're on to our final lap here at PF International, the final lap of the weekend for your club championship of round 1 at PF International, and we'll see how it all goes for the final time up into the bowl section. Josh Turnbull has got himself a bit of a breathing space at 0.3 of a second, coming over onto the Litchfield Bridge now. Brandon Truman chases hot behind with Lloyd Hare also in pursuit in P3. George Holbrook, can he hold on as well to get in the mix for this?
Here we go then, into hairpin 1 they go. No move for that race lead just yet. Those DHR carts weren't quite fast enough. Takes a look down the inside. Both DHR carts try go around the outside, but neither of them can quite get the move done. That is Joshua Turnbull, brilliant defending once again as they now approach the final sector of the race. Is Brandon Truman going to defend his whole way through these last few laps
Let's
of
see.
these 2 DHR carts? Well, last few corners, here they go. George Holbrook just onto the back of that pack and Mikey Walker. Crazier things have happened. Let's see what happens. Can Joshua Turnbull make it a win? And yes, he can. Checker flag is out. Brilliant job there from the Coles Racing driver. I mean, led most of the race. Phenomenal. That was deserving. Started on pole. Lost it there at the beginning and then managed to, wow, some great defending there went on at the latter stages of that race. 2 DHR carts, of course. Brilliant teamwork from them. finishing on the podium.
Great overall performance from Josh Turnbull there.
Absolutely.
You can see the final checkered flag waved for the weekend on the gantry, and that has been an incredible day of action, and right across the weekend we've been so great to bring it all to you. Can we also say though, a massive well done to Hugh Moulton, who got up a humongous 22 places on the starting grid. He started all the way down in P27, finishes in P5, had the fastest lap to show for it as well. But Josh Turnbull, really composed performance there, had some real hot pressure from both the Dan Holland Racing guys of Brandon Truman and Lloyd Hare. George Holbrook just got a bit caught out, like sort of maybe 2-3 laps earlier, got a bit out of position to be really in the mix, but George Holbrook was looking like it was all going to possibly happen for him as well. But James Tester, privateer, P6, of course last year's champion, will be hoping to take what's happened here this weekend and go forward into the next round.
Though that was a better result than what he did have here last weekend. So more promising for him back out, obviously. PFI, reigning champion, he is no stranger to this track. Then we have Drew Preisner and Joel Dix-Cohen, and Lorenzo Cordell, to be fair, made their ways up well in that final. Well,
there
Jake,
we go.
That was our first day commentator together finished.
It was incredible. It's been great to meet you, be here with you in the commentary box, be here for the first ever live streamed TVKC Club Championship round here in 2026, and it's going to continue thanks to our SlipStream members, you watching right now on the live stream, and also the heats too. If you've been catching up with this as well 7 days later, we thank you for supporting Alpha Live. Make sure you subscribe and give us a like on there. Keel, it's been an absolute pleasure to be alongside you with all the action today, with all the overtakes in the bowl. We've had Chester Forks, we've had Aaron and Brown, and so many other incredible overtakes, incredible performances like Josh Turnbull too. And I just can't wait to possibly be back in the future.
Well, absolutely. 7 rounds this year. Wonder where else we'll be at.
We'll see. Thank you so much for watching today. That rounds up our coverage for this Club Championship first round. And remember to keep all across the rest of the Alpha Live YouTube channel to see what else happens in this frenetic karting season. We'll see you next time.
Well, absolutely. We will see you soon then, hopefully at another SlipStream Live, powered by, of course, Alpha Live Productions.